There are 3 easy steps in creating your resume link. Let me show you how.
Step 1. Register. Go to www.jobs180.com using any browser and click Register Now. Fill out all the information needed. In choosing your resume link, use your full name so that it looks professional and it's easy to recall by potential employers. For example, Antonio Juan de la Cruz .jobs180.com. Step 2. Create and design. When creating your resume, make sure to complete your personal information and upload your profile picture. One of the highlights of the resume link is the portfolio section. In the portfolio section, you can show off your skills by uploading samples of your work like documents, pictures, videos, and your social media links.
Your resume link also features different themes and you can upload a cover photo. This is a combination of a cover letter and a social network cover photo. Here is an example. You can also download a copy of your resume link and print it. Step 3. Apply for a job. There are many ways to apply with your resume link.
First is browsing the job recommendations in your Jobs 180 dashboard.
If you're qualified, click Submit Resume Link. So what are you waiting for? Dress up your next generation resume, stand out brightly among the competitive job seekers in the market, and win the heart of your future employers using Resume Link.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in the Virtual Career Employment and Planning Conference 2021 or virtual CEPCON with the theme Preparing Yourself to the Job Market in the New Normal. Now, before we formally start this program, we would like to welcome all our participants, the students from different colleges. And to start with, we have the College of Arts, the students from the College of Arts and Letters, College of Business and Financial Sciences, College of Education, College of Tourism and Hospitality Management, and College of Governance and Public Policy. Also from the College of Science and College of Construction Sciences and Engineering, College of Computer Science, and College of Allied Health Studies. And to all the students who are watching us today live via Facebook, you can do a shout out for your colleges and your courses by typing in the chat box your complete name, your course, and your year level. And now to formally start the event, let's have the doxology to be followed by the singing of the national anthem and the UMak hymn.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above, ye heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
Bayang magiliw, rela sa silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka lang magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. May nilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kislap ng wataw at mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw na kailang pag may pagdidilim, lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo, ang aming ligaya ng pang may mga api, ang mga tay ng dahil sa'yo.
The cheer to the alma mater, University of Makati. Rejoice, we're here onward marching, be it shine, storm, cloud, or rain. Let all our voices be ringing for the glory of our alma mater. Pride of Makati and of our fatherland, beloved UMak, proudly stand. Arise, thy sons and daughters, fill the air with the joy of alma mater. Let's sound our gladness and tidings, every echo by far and near. Here to thee, our dear beloved UMak, faithfully we raise our light and spirit. We're proud to be at thy command, future builders of this land. Arise, thy sons and daughters, fill the air with the joy of alma mater. Let's sound our gladness and tidings, every echo by far and near. Hail to thee, our dear beloved UMak, faithfully we raise our minds and spirit. We're proud to be at thy command, future builders of this land. University of Makati, future builder of this land.
And hello, we are back, and I'm sure you're all excited to start our virtual career employment and planning conference 2021. Again, with the theme, preparing yourself for the job market in the new normal. So truly, we are all in a very challenging situation, and we need not just to be prepared, but to be aware of what is really happening so we can cope and deal with it. Okay, so let's just call our first. Okay, we have the list of the topics that we will be discussing today in our virtual career employment and planning conference 2021. So we have a socio-economic trends and forecast and their implications to the job market, which will be discussed by our first speaker, Professor Maria Teresa R. Federico Francisco, our UMak CBFS faculty. And then we will have a balancing productivity and health in the workplace by Cardinal Health. And then we will have roundtable discussions, industry highlights, and career opportunities from different companies like the ADP Philippines, Ernst & Young Global, Direct Business, Greenfield Marketers One, Makati Medical Center, Optum Global, Tata Consultancy, VXI Global, Mr. Alan Fontanilla, Mr. Glenn Romano, Professor Ryan De Una, Miss May Ann Alegre Aure, and Mr. Philip Manuelson Arandia, and Miss Anne Maribel Happin. So we will have all these renowned speakers or reputable speakers from different industries that they represent. So please stay tuned and make sure that you ready your ball pens and take note of the information that you will get from our career employment and planning conference. So let us all welcome our first speaker who will talk about socio-economic trends and forecasts and their implications in to the job market. She is a professor, again, as mentioned earlier, from the University of Makati, College of Business and Financial Sciences, Professor Maria Teresa R. Federico Francisco. Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am, you have the stage. I'll see you later.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I will share my screen. Wait. Okay. I have been invited to talk about the socio-economic trends and forecast for 2021 and their implication to the job market amidst the pandemic. So it's a very broad and complex topic, and giving me a 20-minute time to talk, it's a bit challenging, but what I did is that I compress all the data and information and integrate my analysis on it. Okay, then before I start, I want to share an anecdote about the lemons, turning lemons into lemonade. Medyo magandang ano yan, come. Hardiness helps people turn stressful circumstances into opportunities. Okay, and also I want to share a word from Salvatore R. Madi, a psychologist, that resilience or hardiness is the ability to adapt to new circumstances when life presents unpredictable. Okay, now let's go on to the flow of discussion para alam ninyo ang takbo ng ating kwentuhan. Okay, first, I will go through the recent economic developments and trends. Then the second part will be the economic forecast that will give us an overview on the likely path of the economy, keeping in mind the highly uncertain environment that we are in now. And the third one is the implication or the impact of that economic forecast on in the current job markets. And finally, I would like to take this opportunity to challenge everyone here to be optimistic and resilient in order to cope with our present situation. Okay. Now, for the recent economic development trends, let us see how the Philippine situation before the COVID-19 attacked the world. Philippine economy before the COVID-19 pandemic was considered to be one of the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia. The real GDP growth at about 6% over a 10-year period and a 6.4% average from 2010 to 2019. The robust growth of the domestic economy in recent years was achieved in an environment generally stable inflation and was anchored on structural reforms. The country's strong track record of prudent policy making has likewise led to a robust external payment positions, record high international reserves, improve external debt metrics, and healthy public finances. At the same time, Philippine banks continue to be sound, stable, and well-functioning based on all metrics. These robust fundamentals gave us the monetary and fiscal space to navigate in the first few months of this crisis. Okay, now the COVID-19 pandemic has required the government to impose the stringent lockdown measures to save lives and help both the public health sector and the LGUs to respond effectively to the health crisis. Unfortunately, our economy, like many other economies around the world, suffered from the lockdowns. After exhibiting about 84 consecutive quarters of growth, the Philippine economy contracted. It shrank down in the first three quarters of 2020, amounting to an average real GDP decline of 10%. And we must note that, however, that COVID-19 pandemic has a constrained economy activity not only in the Philippines, but across the globe. Okay? Now, the Philippine economy entered the recession in the first half of 2020 as the COVID-19 pandemic delivered a triple shock of health crisis, strict containment measure, and global recession of unprecedented scale. The economic activities contracted sharply in the first three quarters of 2020 amid the demand that supply shocks brought by the pandemic. Now, this is the first recession since 1991 and is driven by a sharp dive in domestic demand. Owing to the country's strong macroeconomic fundamentals, heading into a crisis, the government has actively supported the economy by increasing public expenditures, including social transfer, pursuing the accommodative monetary policy, and other regulatory measures to minimize the economic fallout of the pandemic. The weak domestic demand that has translated into a lower imports. Bumaba siya, lowering the trade deficit and resulting in the balance of payment surplus in the first half of 2020. This has contributed to the appreciation of the Philippine peso, an increase in the foreign reserve in all-time high, while the labor markets hurried down in last July and remains bleak with a significant share of population remaining to be jobless or underemployed. With this, together with all economic contraction and income losses, has hampered the steady decline in poverty seen in recent years. Among the high COVID cases countries in Southeast Asia, the Philippines faces the brunt of pandemic through external and domestic challenge. Okay. The economy contracted by 10% in the first three quarters of 2020 and the deepest contraction since 1985 debt crisis. And the contraction was driven by a sharp dive in private domestic demand and collapse of trade due to the impact of strict containment measures domestically and on the global stage. This is a graphical presentation of the industries and services contracted sharply. The manufacturing, services, and other industries contracted sharply on the second quarter of 2020 and proving favorable improvement, hopefully, in the third quarter of 2020. But then again, there are industries. Last July, last year, 2020, 40% of the firms reported temporary suspension of the operation, 20% by government mandated, and some of the 20% are voluntarily closes their operation. Nevertheless, the recent progress in flattening the infection curve led to signs of improvements in employment, trade, manufacturing, activities, and revenue. Okay, this suggests that the country has turned into corner in managing the COVID-19 infection curve. Economic activity continues gradually to pick up. However, the surge in new cases in highly urbanized areas such as Metro Manila and nearby provinces suggests that this recovery remains fragile and contingent on the sustained progress of managing the COVID-19 pandemic. The severity of recession can be explained first and foremost on the collapse of private consumption, as containment measure led to a fall in employment and incomes. Private consumption registered the worst performance on record by contracting 8.2%. Okay, also the investment activity has been repressed by the recession, elevated the levels of uncertainty and deterioration in the business confidence. Okay. And for all we know, the transport and travel services were hit by hardest among the services, as the global tourism industry suffered from the strict travel and mobility restriction. The implementation of strict cross-travel border resulted into a 73% drop in foreign tourist arrivals through the first 7 months of 2020, which resulted a 72% decline in the inbound of tourism revenues. Now, the implementation of social distancing and mobility restriction had led to similarly strong decline in the services sector, which accounts to roughly 60% of total output. Agriculture was the main growth driver of the supply side, but despite structural weaknesses and its continued vulnerability to natural disasters. Okay, let's take a look about the exchange rate and external sector. A significant lower trade deficit led to balance of payments surplus in the first half of 2020, which this contributed to the appreciation of the Philippine peso in an increase of foreign reserves in all-time high. Later, I will tell you why is that. A significant contraction of information lessened the demand for the US dollars, contributing to the appreciation of the Philippine peso in the first 9 months of 2020. And in the first 3 quarters of the 2020, the Philippine peso appreciated by 3.9%, and the peso has appreciated with Taiwan dollar, Chinese yuan, South Korean won, Japanese yen, Singapore dollar, and Malaysian ringgit, not in the dollar of the US. Okay. Now let's talk about the fiscal policy, which is a rising fiscal pressure. The government fiscal response to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with revenue shortfall amid a slumping global and domestic economy, lead to a rapid increase in fiscal balance. As a result of this, the public debt ratio has increased into highest level in nearly a decade. Okay, to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, the government responded by expanding the public spending amid the sharp decline in tax revenue. But the tax revenue decline amid the sharp deterioration of country's tax base, as both the global and domestic economy was ravaged by pandemic. So public spending rose sharply as government adopted measures to mitigate the health and socio-economic impact of the pandemic, reallocating the budgets from the public infrastructure program. Okay. Now let us take a look at the inflation and monetary policy. Inflationary pressures remained weak as the domestic demand was subdued to the COVID-19 pandemic. The benign inflation environment has provided enough room for the accommodative monetary policy to mitigate the adverse impact of the pandemic on the economy. And actually, the BSP has further reduced the key policy rate to a new record low in the last November, after a brief pause since last June 2020, and in part to the economy's poor performance in the third quarter of 2020. As global economic prospect dampened with the resurgence of COVID-19 cases worldwide. Okay, inflation remained muted for the first 3 quarters of 2020, and overall demand weakened amid the pandemic. The BSP has adopted the accommodative policy stance the onset of the crisis, and it has taken extraordinary measures to support the government's COVID-19 response. The financial system has maintained a high level of liquidity, but the impact of the pandemic has been felt by the asset quality of the banks. Okay, let's take a look at the poverty and employment and poverty, rather. Employment rate declined since the peak of the pandemic, yet it remains high. As the country gradually eased community quarantines introduced in 2020, an unemployment rate fell 17.6% in April and 10.0% in July. And the latest estimate of unemployment rate in October 2020 that it further decreased to 8.7%. However, it remains almost double the rate as those recorded in the same period of 2019, that is 5.4% in July and 4.6% in October. Okay. While the condition in the labor market have been improved, the overall market remains bleak as a result of containment and social distancing. A significant share of population is either jobless or underemployed. Reduced labor incomes along with the drop of remittances are likely reversed some gains in the poverty reduction in recent years. Okay, underemployment also declined gradually from its peak on April and continued its downward trend in July and October 2020. The labor force participated rate, or what we call the LFPR, rebounded its pre-pandemic level in July 2020, but reversed to a lower level in October 2020. So job losses between October 2019 and 2020 were staggering at 2.7 million, were mostly concentrated in the services and industry sectors. Okay, let's talk about the gross domestic product, which is the total monetary of market value of all finished goods and services produced within a country's border in a specific period of time. A broad measure overall domestic production, its function as a comprehensive scorecard on a given country's economic health. According to the Philippine Statistic Authority, or the PSA, the Philippine gross domestic product posted a growth rate of negative 0.3% in the fourth quarter of 2020, resulting to the negative 9% in a full year growth of 2020. That's very saddening. On the other hand, there are some contribution to the decline of the GDP for the fourth quarter, which are the construction sector, the other services, the accommodation and food services activities, which also contributed the decline of the GDP. Okay, now let us take a look at the economic forecast. Nevertheless, seeing the early signs of recovery, hopefully, of course, we are looking for that. No? The manufacturing purchasing managers index risen a 49.9 in November, close to a 50%
Okay, so it seems like we're having a little of technical difficulty with the connection of Professor Maria Teresa Federico Francisco, because earlier we were talking in the backstage and she mentioned that she's actually not in the country right now. So maybe that's the reason why the connection is really, really because she's coming from a different country, so it's so far and the connection is really difficult. And even in the closest area, right, we're still having difficulty connecting with each other. So right now, we'll just entertain the questions in the comment section. Are there any questions in the comment section? Maybe we can read it later to Professor Francisco. So we don't have any more questions, but we have attendees. We have comments of names and courses and sections. So we have Christian, we have Moktiar Balok. I don't know if I don't think he's from UMak, but we have Gehana Sios from CBFS. Okay, we have Micaela Laurente. We have I don't know if I will be able to mention all of you guys, but I'm just checking in the comment section. Your names, if you're watching right now, hello to you guys. Daniel John Manaloto, Romer Arvin Peron, and Shella Rose Badiango. So all of these students are from CBFS, and some are from CTHM. Okay. And so, hello, guys. Thank you for joining us today in the virtual Career Employment and Planning Conference. So, like what I mentioned earlier, we seem to have a problem with the connection of Professor Maria Teresa Federico Francisco. She is talking about the socio-economic trends and forecasts in their implication to the job market. So, it's really an interesting topic. And she presented data that will help us understand what's going on in the fiscal world, or the revenues that are coming in worldwide, especially with the cost of this pandemic. And how are the industry doing, performing while we are in this worldwide pandemic. So later on, maybe we can have her back. But as of the moment, do we have names to shout out? Okay. We still have names. So thank you for jobs180.com for hosting our virtual career employment and planning conference. And if you are looking for opportunities, just go to jobs180.com career opportunities, and you will find a lot of companies who are looking for people to work with. So if you are already a graduate of the University of Makati, or you are supposed to be graduating this year and you're looking for a job, then you can sign up for a jobs180.com account and just log into their career opportunities and find the perfect job for you. And also, later on, I'll just make an early announcement of what's going on. So after the virtual career employment and planning conference, we will have an evaluation, okay? And then it will be posted on the comment section of the page once the conference is done. So after you answer and reply to the evaluation that we will be sending, the link that we will be sending, that's your qualification to earn a certificate, and all these certificate will be sent to your colleges so that you can claim it. And so there, what else? And after Professor Francisco's discussion, we will have a roundtable discussion. So we will have 6 panel speakers, and they will be discussing industry highlights and career opportunities. When you signed up for this event and you registered, you also key in some of the questions that you might have for your industry or for this conference itself. So we will be asking these panel speakers about their comments and their views, or specifically related to your industry, and they will be answering this for you. So later on, stay put and tune in to our virtual career employment and planning conference. So let's see, do we already have Ma'am Francisco back? Or
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was cut. I
there
don't
you go.
know.
Hello,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry. I don't know where I was cut. Nasaan kaya yung ano? Can I have the I thought I was about to finish my my presentation.
Okay. I forgot to, because I immediately entered the screen, so I wasn't able to screenshot the presentation where you
Okay.
got cut off. But
I can just continue for the last part. Okay.
okay,
Okay.
come on, ma'am. See you later.
Okay. Wait, let me share my screen again. Miss Lee, I cannot share my screen. I'm not able to share my screen.
Let me just call on the tech team.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you please
Yes.
try to stop screen share and then share again?
Okay. I stopped. My screen was stopped not sharing anymore.
Yes, it's not sharing. And then
Okay.
try to share again. Click the button below.
Okay. I'm sorry for this hassle, no, because I have. Oh my God, I wasn't
It's
able to
okay,
share
ma'am.
my screen. So I need to have.
Can you exit out of the
Okay,
studio and then come back
I'll
and
be back.
refresh the screen?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so there, this is live via Facebook. So this really happened. Technical things happen when you're live on screen. So we anticipate these kind of um, things to happen online. So there
I'm
you go.
sorry.
She's
I'm
back.
sorry. That is beyond
Okay.
our control. I know. Okay, I
Yes,
will let share my screen. Wow, it's still not working, Miss Lee. It's
the
still not
button for the
working.
sharing screen is not
Yes,
working.
it's still not sharing. Oh my God. I'm not able to. Can I speak na lang without sharing my
Sure.
screen?
Share.
Okay. So, okay, sige. So to continue, okay, let's move on to the portion of where the um, I don't know where I was dropped or cut during my talk, but then again, um, okay, I will just share na lang the economic forecast. No, economic forecast is wait. So the gradual easing of lockdowns measures and promising development regarding the vaccines have contributed to the improvements of the business operating conditions. So what are the service sector that the main growth driver in 2021? It is the okay. The growth driver, commanding roughly 60% of GDP in the services sector, is expected to be the main growth driver in 2021. Social distancing measure will likewise remain, and service sector is expected to grow by 5.8% in 2021. The reopening of face-to-face service sector bodes for tourism and the transportation industry, restaurant and food services, and wholesale and retail trade services. Okay. For the labor market study, there are 35% of companies who are looking to hire for more workers this year, and 45% intend to maintain the status quo of what they have now, the manpower. And the traditional consumer markets have remained robust and are assisting in the economic recovery. So the highest hiring activity were e-commerce, financial services, healthcare, life sciences, technology, and telecommunication, as well as the fast-moving consumers. Now, the employment rate in the Philippines increased by 91.27% in fourth quarter of 2020 and 90.04% by the third quarter of 2020. Now let's take a look the implication to the job market. I'm sorry, but I cannot able to share my screen, but then again, I can talk. Okay. So, wait. Mhm. So then again, the impact on the labor market, no? The implication. The labor market of the COVID-19 pandemic in the Philippines has already started manifesting through spike in the unemployment rate, a fall in the labor force participation rate, a significant reduction in working hours, and a large swell in the fraction of workers who are currently employed but are not presently at their workforce or absent from their work. Okay. Now, there are two dual effects of the COVID-19 in the labor sector. First is the viability of the work from home arrangement would depend on the workers' access to information, communication technology, infrastructure, as well as their capabilities to make the use of the digital tools to perform the job task. And the second one is the automation of the potential replacement a subset task performed in a particular occupation. The task replacing potential of automation, however, does not necessarily mean that jobs will vanish. Some occupation will be transformed in a task content jobs evolve. So telecommunication essentially became the new normal overnight, and companies had to find ways to respond in an agile manner to workplace changes that from working from home entailed, which include yung distance communication, coordination, in-split yung business processes, and that is transitioning the contained business process to a more dispersed process. Ibig sabihin, decentralize na nila. And the more importantly, yung digitization and automation of the business task. Okay, what is the labor market outlook for 2021? The labor market study that indicated 35% of the companies were looking to hire more workers this year, while 45% intend to maintain status quo. Okay. Now, while the country's e-commerce and logistics sectors aren't developed, and other Asia-Pacific markets and traditional consumer markets have remained robust and are assisting in the economic recovery. So what is the highest hiring activity? The sectors with the highest hiring activity were the e-commerce, finance services, healthcare, life sciences, technology, communication, as well as the fast-moving consumers. The report submitted by the DOLE that these companies have 76% employed technology professionals in the Philippines, anticipated in looking forward for new opportunities is 2020. Okay. So now, and for the last part, I'm sorry that you cannot. I was not able to book to present the whole presentation because of some technicalities. But then again, on the last part of my presentation is that I am calling an action to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. The past years have been turbulent and challenging. Our economy and the economies of other countries across the globe have been seriously hit by this unprecedented health emergency. However, the Philippine robust macroeconomic fundamentals have helped us navigate through this crisis. And our fundamentals remain strong, the price pressures are manageable, domestic liquidity remains ample, and the banking sector remains stable and resilient. These are all early signs of recovery and with some improvements, and we should also take our part by observing the health protocols as imposed by the authorities. As we learn to live with the virus, adopt and accept the new normal, domestic economic activity is expected to rebound this year and the coming years. Okay, but this pandemic, as with other challenging period in our history, has once again shown our resilience, fortitude as a nation. We will use this resilience to continue working hard in ensuring our country will sustain a sustainable recovery from the pandemic. So back again on my first slide on the anecdote on turning the lemons into lemonade. It is somehow when life give you a lemon, make it a lemonade. This is used to encourage optimism and positive can-do attitude in the face of adversity or misfortune, because lemon suggests sourness or difficulty in life, while making it lemonade and turning it to something positive and desirable. We have to accept the reality that we are living with the COVID-19 virus all the way through our journey, and we be part of the world history as we are so lucky here and still alive and still surviving and fighting. So I am certain that each of us gathered here virtually in today's conference has contribution to make our collective fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. So then again, I will end my presentation. I'm sorry, but I was not able to present my my PowerPoint. But then again, I'd rather talk, just not to disrupt my presentation. So then again, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share my insights and my analysis. And back to you, Ms. Lee. Good afternoon, everyone. And by the way, I encourage you to use the resume link for applicants to apply at job180.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Maria Teresa Federico Francisco, for discussing the socio-economic trends and forecasts and their implication to the job market. Even though we don't see the figures, we were able to hear like the percentages of how our country is actually coping up with this worldwide pandemic. So at least we get a chance or a hope at least that we can really make lemonades out of these lemons that we are being presented right now. So thank you. And with this, we give you a virtual certificate. So may we just present the virtual certificate to you. So University of Makati, from the Office of the Vice President for Academic Affairs and the Center for Linkages and Career Development and Placement, awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Professor Maria Teresa Federico Francisco for sharing her knowledge and expertise as a resource speaker for her talk on socioeconomic trends and forecasts and their implication to the job market during the Virtual Career Employment and Planning Conference 2021, with the theme Preparing Yourself to the Job Market in the New Normal, held on the 20th day of April 2021 at the University of Makati virtual space. So signed by Ma'am Cynthia Margareta R. Jose, MBA, the Director for Center for Linkages and Career Development and Placement, and also the Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Elixir C. Ramos. So thank you, ma'am. We appreciate
you're
your time and
welcome.
effort for
Okay,
presenting
you're
this.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
See you
day.
later. You too, ma'am. Thank you. So now that we are done knowing the trends and how our industry is coping up with this worldwide pandemic, or the industries are coping up with the worldwide pandemic, we will go with the group discussion. So we have the round table discussion, and we have these on companies, industry partners. So we have from Served Manila, the CEO and President, and the PANAF Board of Trustee, Mr. Alan Fontanilla. We also have, we will have the HR Manager for ADB Philippines, Ms. Joanne Topacio. And we also have Talent Development Assistant Director from Ernst Young, Mr. Dennis Supetron, and Talent Acquisition Officer from VXI Global, Mr. MJ Felipe, and Ms. Mayan Alegre Aure from Leriv Mobile Bar and Concentrics, and Mr. Professor Ryan De Una from General Pio del Pilar Elementary School Principal, and Mr. Glenn Romano, DOJ Marawi Task Force Panel of Prosecutors and City of Manila Assistant City Prosecutor. So welcome all our panel speakers for the round table discussion. So again, this roundtable discussion will be all about industry highlights and career opportunities. So later on, I will be sending the questions that our viewers initially sent to us via the pre-registration link that we have received from them. So again, welcome all our panel speakers, Prof. De
Hello.
Una, yes, Mr. Alan Fontanilla, Mr. Glenn Romano, Mr. MJ Felipe, Ms. Joanne Tapacio,
Good
Ms. Mayan
afternoon.
Aure, Mr. Dennis Cipitron. So hello, sirs and ma'ams. So let me just read one of the questions that were sent to us from College of Arts and Letters students. So this is going to the industry from arts and media. So Mr. Alan Fontanilla, I think you will be able to answer some of these
Okay.
questions. So how can we
Gumaganon
drive
pa ako eh. Di bigla may question na pala. Go!
how can we drive our career in this time of pandemic? So please give us 3 concrete realistic advice. Wow, napaka
Okay. Wow. I
detailed
think,
po, no? 3
sige.
concrete.
Nacha-challenge mo ako ah. So I guess my first advice is I'm from my background really is advertising. So I think more and more now one of the biggest challenges is you're working from home. It's hard to actually advertising kasi or marketing is all about interacting with other people. and that's when you can come up with interesting ideas to push a product or promote a product or even inspiration. So that's one of the biggest challenges now. So in terms of what you can do, siguro there is maybe you can organize more discussions with your friends or go outside of your comfort zone in terms of what you do every day. For example, if your course is journalism or course is marketing, go outside of the usual stuff that you do. Para kasi kuminsan if you're just in your home, if you're just studying, 'di ba, every day yung commute mo is to your computer, nawawalan ka ng inspiration eh. So instead that you're just focused on one particular topic, go expand your horizon. Also din ngayon, number 2 is related to that. I think it's like ayun, how can we drive our career this time? Please give 3 concrete. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, and then the second one is experiment. If you have a side hustle, I know you guys are still in college or still studying, but what is stopping you from doing experiments in terms of little businesses? Because from there, when you experiment, you learn how to do things. Number 3 is you guys should join. Pinaalam ko to earlier. You guys should join the PANA Foundation Youth Creativity Festival, which is scheduled for next week. I think I invited a lot. I think I invited Cynthia and her students to join. It's for free. It's all about future-proofing your career also, specifically for marketing and advertising students. So that's the third advice. So yeah.
Wow. Thank you, sir. Wow. I love the advice of going out of your normal routine and exploring new ideas so that you can enhance your skills. Okay. And now let's have a question now, this time from one of our CBFS students. This is from the College of Business and Financial Sciences students. So Miss Joanne or Mr. Dennis Supetran can answer. What advice do you have for someone who is new into the accountancy industry or in the financial industry?
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Lee. I'll go ahead and take that question. First off, my name is Dennis Supetran, and I've been very fortunate in my career that I've gone through various industries, from volunteer work to the academe to BPO to financial industry and now to the professional services with EY, right? And I think there's a good question, and I usually share it with all of the Jobs 180 talks that I do. It's really how further will your mindset take you compared to your skill set? Because again, the technical things that you learn, you pick up, those change over time. But what's going to serve you in good stead and serve you well is really the mindset that you adopt. And that's why for me, especially with again, COVID-19 is not yet over. We're still experiencing it. We're still seeing the impact it has in various aspects of our life, both personal and also from a career perspective. And so what's so very important is that we continue to keep ourselves agile and keeps ourselves flexible. So in my case, moving from financial services to professional services, what's helped me is that concentrating on those transferable skills. And oftentimes, we get this question: if I'm not yet in the career that I envision myself to be, I should save my best effort for that. But my answer to that is always give your best every day, because again, regardless of whether this is a stepping stone, whether you're picking up transferable skills, regardless of the end industry that you end up with, maybe doing it for the next 10, 15, even 20 or even more years, what's going to be important is that you give your best every day. And that's very much an important piece, especially nowadays, since a lot of companies by necessity are doing virtual work, right? Remote working. In my case, when I get that question, how do we keep or how do we make it an option? Do your best, because nothing builds a business case for companies to continue having these flexible working arrangements than by people being and continuing to drive the company's progress. And personally, my advocacy as well is really, we've seen how COVID-19 impacts our highly urbanized areas. So if we want to decongest the cities, that's one of the best ways, to promote remote working. And we can only do that if businesses see that it's a viable business case, that regardless of, for example, EY Philippines right now, we have around 40% of our workforce outside of Metro Manila. So that's
Mm.
it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dennis Petran. So always give your best in everything that you do in everyday life. So even if it's you're just new in the industry, you have to give your best so that you can be recognized, right? So and you will, if you are not in the industry you're in, you will get there if you just do whatever pleases your passion and you're at your best. Okay, so next question. This time we are answering a question from our College of Tourism and Hospitality Management students. So we have Mr. Mark Josel, Felipe, and Miss May Ann Alegre Aure who can answer this question. So, what do you think? Do we need to sustain our industry during this pandemic time? What will be the future of the tourism industry and the sports and recreation? If you have answer to that. So
Um,
again, what do you think we need to sustain?
for me, since I'm actually working in an events industry, wherein our industry is highly impacted by this pandemic, you just have to um, put your vision. Don't lose track. Keep in mind that this too shall pass. So whatever um, problem we are encountering right now, or whatever this pandemic has brought to us right now, this will not remain. This will soon stop, or this will soon finish. So just keep your vision and put take down notes on what you have to do. Check for other resources, since the event industry is currently down as of the moment. So like look for other things that you can do, like what Sir Alan Fontanilla said a while ago. Go out of your comfort zone. So if you can look for some job or some opportunity out there, just grab it as of the moment, and then when the opportunity knocks, or when the event industry booms once again, then that's the time wherein you can step, or wherein you can go ahead and grab that certain opportunity. And that's for me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Mayan
Thank you.
Aure. And now we will have an education from the College of Education students. This question is for Professor Ryan De Una of General Pio del Pilar Elementary School. So, how can we stay connected or focused in understanding more about our field when we are just doing it virtually? So that's for Professor Ryan De Una.
Okay. How can we stay connected or focused in understanding more about our field when we are just doing it virtual? Actually, as we all know, no, this pandemic have changed a lot, changed the landscape of education. But then again, at first, it is really very hard for teachers to adjust. But then, uh, by constant practice, by of course doing it every day, we have already coped up with this. And the best thing that you should do is of course to focus on your studies, and aim to graduate, even if the situation is like this. After all, uh, even though the landscape of education is changing, uh, Filipino teachers are resilient, and let's show that. to everybody. You can do it. More so the University of Makati College of Education students. We are ready for this. We are prepared for this. And we can cope up.
I love the motivation, Sir Prof. De Una. We are ready for this. We can get through this pandemic. And now we have another question here from the College of Arts and Letters. So again, this is for Sir Alan M. Fontanilla. Um,
Okay, go ahead.
they they said that okay, what are the possible job opportunities that are there for us after we graduate? So this is for the students from the College of Arts and Letters. So they
Okay,
have
that's a very good question. I mean, if I were to borrow that line from a contest somewhere, because of what's happening to our world now, because of the pandemic, while every day is a challenge and all that, what it has opened is the possibility that you can really work anywhere. Like last year when we were discussing, for example, organizing that other conference, one of the realizations that we had was that, oh my god, if you're graduating today, you should not limit yourself to the Philippines, because we now have companies in the US or in Europe hiring people from here. And this is not just about nursing. This is not just about BPO jobs. These are jobs for advertising, for marketing, and all that. So while of course the lowest hanging fruit is the Philippines, but if you find looking for a job here in the Philippines very challenging, you can open your eyes and look at what's out there outside of the Philippines. Kasi nga 'di ba, nauso na din kasi ngayon that everything is remote, o halos lahat ng mga, especially in marketing and advertising, that you can actually work from home. It's been proven that it can happen. So now companies outside of the Philippines are looking at setting also their sites outside of their geographical coverage. So kumbaga, the world now is your stage. And how do you prepare for that? Syempre, you upskill. Like for example, I know that someone, I forgot, Hyler, I forgot someone in the events industry. I used to be in the events industry, but what did we do? We pivoted and made everything virtual. So I think the events industry is alive and kicking. It's just that in a different platform. So if you're up for if you're graduating and looking for a job, do not limit yourself to the Philippines. Go outside, because now you can remotely work anywhere in the world. Like I have a friend who works in marketing, hired by a Philippine company, but now their setup is virtual, remote. He's based out of Taipei. Sabi ko, oh my God, pwede pala yun, ano? At saka yung office niya dito sa Pilipinas. So, yun, I guess that's my advice for people who are graduating. Set your sights higher than just where you are now, because the opportunity is there. The world is your stage. And you know naman how Filipinos are. We're bright and smart and, masigasig and hardworking.
Yes.
And hinahanap yun ng mga employers.
Yes. I agree, sir. So again, thank you, Sir Alan Fontanilla. Do not limit yourself in the industry. So explore other opportunities, explore other options or other things that you can do for a living. Sabi nga ni Miss May Ann kanina, no, you can also check out other things, take notes, go outside, take notes, and make sure you explore other opportunities out there. So we'll go to another question here this time from our CBFS students again. What are the advantages and disadvantages of financial courses, and what do we expect from the financial industry? So anyone from Sir Dennis and Miss Joanne can answer.
Hi Lee, hi guys. Thank you for tuning in to this event now. So it's really exciting. So to pick up from the question about what's in store, and I also want to go back to the question a while ago about accountancy. Now it's financial management. We do have good news for you. So here at ADP, our basic roles or tasks is literally handling payroll for people or small businesses to large corporations in the US and Canada. And like what Mr. Alan Fontanilla said, that you can work virtually at home. So what our associates do, so they work from home since it's pandemic. We assist associates, or sorry, our clients who are in the US and Canada. Um, Now, in ADP, since ours is very payroll based in terms of what we look for, so we hire accountancy graduates, we hire finance graduates. So it's not something new to us, no, na pag accountancy, gustong gusto namin yun. So mag-apply kayo sa amin. If ever you have, syempre nag-shout out, please apply to ADP. We look for accountants, but you don't have to be scared, no? Kasi sabila, BPO kayo. Well, we are a business. The processes of other companies, we handle it, but we are also a captive BPO. When you say captive, we are hired under the company. Hindi kami hired because we are handling accounts, no? So as long as the company is alive, we have jobs. I've been with the company for 10 years already, and so far we have been growing. We have been hiring like 30 people every week. So I don't know what growth is, you know, how I can actually prove to you na we're growing when we hire every week, every month. May hinahanap kami mga accounting background or courses na students, no? But there is also opportunity if you are non-accountancy. Please don't worry, because we welcome people who are willing to deliver excellent customer service. So you don't have to be an accountancy graduate. As long as you are willing to learn, then we will obviously give you a chance, no? So um there is also light at the end of the tunnel, and I know the panelists have been saying this. I'm not going to say anymore how hard it is. I want you to move forward. You, if you are graduating, I'm sure malaking question mark sa inyo yung future, but don't stop by being worried, no? Like your panelist said, find a side hustle, mag-online selling kayo or magbenta kayo sa labas ng bahay nyo. You know, find something that you can do to earn money, but as soon as now, hindi kayo, kasi sometimes when we're not doing anything, dun tayo na worry, no? So if you're an artist per accountancy ka, sell, you know, drawings online or paintings, or if you are good in writing, you can get jobs na journalism na on the side, yung mga per hour. I also have a lot of friends who do the English tutorial online, and they, you know, they're just at home, and then they, for 30 minutes a day per student, they teach them online how to say cat, dog, yan, mga what's your name, diba? That's very easy, and I'm sure all of you are capable of doing that. So madami talagang pwedeng gawin. The challenge I feel would be just you yourself, you need to get out of bed. The number of hours that it takes for you to study and, you know, or work would be the number of hours you should exert in looking for a job. But believe me, there is a lot out there. There is a lot out there. So one of the things I saw that is going to come up soon, no, na that will open up would be obviously the BPO. Walang, I think the BPO will be there for a long, long, long time. Under BPO, we look for IT graduates, for accountancy, even we also have a facilities department, finance. So not just, don't look at a company na ito lang yung, if it's a technical or an engineering company, kailangan din ng accountants, di ba? Because they have an HR department. They need an accounting person to handle their finances. So that's how you should look at it now. Open your mind and say, okay, it's an engineering company, but they have a finance department. Do you apply there, di ba?
Okay.
So if you need more, please feel free to reach out to us in ADP. We are so open to talking to students and helping them find their career. Don't worry, we won't force you to apply, but we really just as our social responsibility, we help students find or give them resources on how to find work. Na?
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Miss Joanne. It's exciting to know that there are a lot of opportunities in ADP. So again, feel free to contact Miss Joanne and ADP for your career opportunities. And now we have a question from the College of Governance and Public Policy. So this is for Mr. Glenn Romano. Uh, as a political science student, how can we assure that the information we are receiving from the internet is legitimate or factual?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. The best way to determine whether the information comes from a legitimate source is to make sure that the website itself is a legitimate website. And first of all, you have to identify if that is from a legitimate major or a source of information. So if they don't have a history, if the website or if the organization has no long history of being the source of an information, you have to think twice whether you have to take the information that they are putting out for
Uh, Hello, sir. I think we are also having a technical difficulty. Uh, and there, we'll get back to Sir Romano later. We have another question. Now, this time from our College of Education students. How can we be technology equipped during this time of pandemic? So this is for Professor De Una. Sir?
Hi. Yes. Such a nice question. So how can we be technology equipped during this time of pandemic? You know, as I've said a while ago, that the uh, landscape of education in the country nowadays have drastically changed. You know, from face to face classes to the now distance learning. You know, and as a teacher, we really have to be equipped with skills and knowledges about technology, because the medium of I mean the platform of education now is through it's either through Google Meet, Google Classroom. So education students nowadays should learn, no, and of course how you explore your gadget, and then you read a lot and you practice, because whether we like it or not, this is the new
No.
platform of education. So as teacher, we have to sharpen our acts. No, we have to equip ourselves with this technology, whether we like it or not. So constant reading, practicing. Alam natin pinakamaganda is to explore gadget, and by doing so we can help ourselves. Of course, sabi nga nila, you cannot teach what you don't know. So therefore, as a teacher, you have to know, no, this technology, so you can give your part. Now you can teach students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
If
Professor
I
De
may
Una.
just add,
Yes,
if I
sir.
may just add, sorry, dami kong thoughts, no? No, because I guess that's because I mean advertising, I mean the communications business and all that. I think if you're, and I was actually having this discussion with a friend of mine who works with Magna Anima, the Teachers College, and then we were discussing na parang, I think one of the challenges that teachers have now is because we're using a legacy way of teaching, di ba, yung face-to-face in person. But if you look at your students now, what are they exposed to? They're exposed to gaming. They're exposed to watching TikTok. They're exposed to watching YouTube. So agree naman ako doon that you have to be very familiar with the gadgets. But I think the other skill that maybe, I don't know, it's easier for me, it's easier said than done, no? But it's also about showmanship. 'Di ba kaya yung TikTok, 'di ba? I think if you're in the profession of actually imparting knowledge, you have to somehow change how you used to do things when you were doing in person. So you have to look at, for example, showmanship. Paano ba to yung mga YouTube influencers na to? How do they do it? How can they make the whole teaching entertaining? Because remember, as a student, your world, even if you're forcing yourself, if you're, concentrating on studying and listening to your teacher, your world is biglang may kakatok, biglang papasok yung aso, biglang kakatok yung nanay mo, oy, magsaing ka na, or oy, biglang yung magde-delivery. So you're continuously distracted. So as a person who talks online or teaches or shares, imparts knowledge, your challenge this is how to I make sure that I engage this student every 5 minutes. Kasi every 5 minutes, this student is distracted. Diba? Or they could be just texting on the side na hindi mo namamalayan and they're not listening. So aside from, I think, familiarizing yourself with gadgets, it's also about showmanship. I know we don't want this to be a variety show, but that's how it is. The reality of doing online things. That you constantly have to be engaging your audience. And it's not just in the teaching profession, but it's in everything. It's in the, doing talks, doing seminars, and all those things. Yun na yung gusto kong i-add doon. Pero ang dami kong sinabi. Okay.
Actually, sir, all of your inputs are very, very...
Diba, Prof? Dami kailangan maging showman tayo ngayon.
Yes po, that's true. And now we have another question coming from the comment section. So this is from Angelica Besana. As a political science major, how can we stay in line in our field of study in the pandemic if the pandemic hinders us from applying for a government position from there po. This is for Sir Glenn Romano po. Sir, you're on mute po.
Okay. Yes. I think there is a problem with respect to looking for work in the government right now, even if we are in a pandemic, because government service does not stop. Regardless of the situation, the government services continue. Whether you are in law enforcement or justice, in the trade, commerce field, in social services field, like a social worker, or you are in business, the government is the biggest employer in the country, and it has several positions, work to offer in all fields. What is good with the government is that the government is composed of highly competent workers. It is a rewarding job. In fact, new what we call new positions or entry positions in government is twice with respect to compensation than in the private sector. Most especially kapag nasa medical field ka, or if you are in the law enforcement field like police officers, firemen, or nasa business field ka like CPA, or lawyers. In fact, lawyers are 3 to 4 times their compensation compared to the private sector. In fact, as of the present, nagrereklamo yung mga law offices kasi 3 to 4 times yung binibigay na sweldo ng government sa mga new lawyers. So walang mga new lawyers na pumupunta ngayon sa private sector. So I think there will be no problem really. Kahit na nasa pandemic tayo, all kinds of field, all kinds of sectors, kung saan man yung sector ninyo, you can apply in government. Hindi naman nag-stop yung government service.
Sir, thank you po. And you were cut off earlier po. Baka po you would like to continue with the previous comment or the question that you were answering about verifying if the information is legitimate, if it's coming from the internet or factual.
Yes. What I was saying earlier is that you have to look for the history of the organization or the website. if it has a long
Yes. What was my
history providing
When it's this question, it's always laggy. I'm not sure if the internet is hindering us from determining factual
Yes.
legitimate information. Because every time Sir Glenn Romano is answering this question, it seems to have technical concerns. So
Okay.
again, sir, I think your audio is now okay.
Yes. So what I was saying is that you have to look for the history of the organization. So if it has a long history of giving information, providing information, I think that will be the best determination that it is a legitimate information or giving good information. Pag yung mga nagpa-pop up lang ng mga websites, walang history, hindi mo rin alam kung sino yung mga tao na nasa likod nila, you have to look further kung sa mga informations na titignan mo kasi maybe they are giving wrong informations.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, another question this time is from the students from Tourism and Hospitality Management. I hope you will read this. In this pandemic, all the tourism and hospitality management were impacted. And as a graduating student this year, how do we cope up in the problem since we didn't have any experience at all? What should be our alternatives or plan or any advice? So this one is
Highly,
anyone from yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
Hi, Lead. It's Joanne. So I'll just take a note this no, really short. You don't have. Remember, you don't have to have your first job, second job, third. Doesn't have to be related to your course. And I know it's weird. Parang why I took up accounting, I took up engineering, but I want to be that. Sometimes circumstances that we cannot control will lead us to applying for a job because we need number one the money, diba? We need to have money to help out our family, to help our mga luho. Kailangan natin ng pera. So, wag na tayo masyadong choosy na, no, kasi I'm accounting and you have a... No. Second is you need a job because for experience, okay? Now, if you are in hospitality or tourism and it's closed, although now it is kind of opening a bit, open na ang Baguio, pwede na kayong pumunta. Bataan, open na rin, di ba? May ganun. Open na yung mga hotels. But if you cannot find work there, but you are a degree holder, what is stopping you from teaching English online, for example? Right? Or if you are into tourism and hospitality, di ba customer service ang seed of that skill eh. You can't be in tourism or hospitality kung wala kang customer service love for that skill. And any job that I can think of that is customer facing involves customer service. So like me, I took up, and let's not just ask for the year, no? Kasi baka maraming mag-judge. The year that I graduated from business management, I was a cashier. And I was forced to. It was abroad. Hindi ako nagpa arte-arte at no, kailangan business management course. No. I took a job as a cashier so I could pay my rent and have food on my table. But it's what you do with that job that makes all the difference. Okay, ito yon. You are a cashier, but be the best cashier ever in that store. Because then customers will notice you. Your manager will notice you. Customers have actually offered me jobs to work for them because they saw, she's not just working the till or the cashier. She's actually very, energizing. Like, sir, how are you today? Did you travel far? Did you find what you looked for? So that super extra thing in whatever you do, whether you're in accounting, hospitality, tourism, I don't know, in a teacher in school, you need to have that extra spark every day because it does not mean that it also will open doors for you when people get in contact with you. They will look at you and say, parang maganda to sa company ko. And that's how I have been from one job to the other. I never left or resigned because walang nag-alok sa akin from another company. Because he said, hey, I noticed you. I like you. Can you join my company? Di ako naman, okay, mas malaking kita, di ba? That's how, you have to be
Yeah,
the
I
best
agree
of
with what
yourself
Joanne is
every
saying
day.
actually.
Right?
You don't wait, diba?
Don't wait, yeah.
And then I think if a lot of us are still hoping that things will go back to normal, it won't.
Matagal
Yes.
pa. Mga ano pa yan, mga 2 years.
And I know even in 3 years it won't go back to normal. That's my fearless
Not yet normal,
forecast.
yeah.
In 5 years we'll still be wearing masks like Japan.
Yes, yes.
And I
that
think
will be
what's
the
going
new
to happen then
accessory.
is that, I mean, a lot of people, I always hear, I hope everything is going to be ganyan. I hope ganyan. And if you're, wait, hope is never a strategy. Sino ba nagsabi nun? Basta I heard that somewhere, one of those politicians in the US. Hope is never a strategy. Because diba, hope means you're just waiting. So you need to act on whatever you need to do something. Because hope, I know it's good if you feel really, really down at wala ka ng ibang maisip. But I always believe that hope is not a strategy. And if you're hoping that things will go back to normal, it won't. If you're hoping for your career, for your whatever course you're in now, that parang walang future, feeling mo walang future, you have to do something about it. Diba? If you're in the hospitality or tourism industry, I know that it's really up and down. It's like a roller coaster. 2 weeks ago, it was okay. And then biglang ngayon, hindi na naman. Hindi natin alam if the MECQ will end in this month. Ay wala pa, up and down. So you have to do something. I do like the suggestions of Joanne earlier. Na, mag-hustle ka. Magganito ka. If you know, if you're in the hospitality and tourism industry, I'm sure you know how to, diba, do your sales talk. You know how to handle people. Why don't you do something online that requires your skills of dealing with people? So again,
actually, Alan, one thing in there also is magbenta kayo ng insurance.
Pwede din. Marami nang nagdala ko, though.
Yeah. Like, for example, meron akong friend, insurance agent. Ang lakas ng sales niya because people are now getting medical insurance because of the pandemic. Because Pacific Cross, for example, they cover COVID. So,
correct.
At home lang siya, tumatawag.
Okay.
They do cover Pacific Cross. You can call me, Alan. I'll connect you.
Yes, and if
marami.
If I may add din po. So, for the fresh graduate students, kami po ni Sir MJ, si Sir MJ is from VXI, is a BPO industry. Tama po, Sir MJ?
Yes, that's right, me and
Yes, and me po, aside from my business right now, I'm also currently hired in Concentrix, which is also a BPO industry. So I'm not saying na go for the call centers. What I'm saying is grab the opportunity na nasa harapan nyo ngayon. Kumbaga parang use it as a stepping stone because being in the hospitality industry, in the tourism industry, magandang background siya. Bakit? Because first, it will give you a good grasp of the language, of the English language. Maganda siyang pagpraktisan. Kasi hindi ka lang nagsasalita ng English, you were able to communicate well to the customer. So magagamit mo yan pag nag-apply ka sa ibang trabaho. And then, yung sinabi rin ni Miss Joanne kanina na it will enhance your customer service. Yes, definitely it will. Kasi dyan mo matetest yung patience mo. Na kahit galit na galit ka na sa customer, nakakangiti ka pa rin. You still have to deliver a good customer service. Dyan na-enhance yung customer service experience ko because I was also call center a representative way back 2005, and then I was able to use that in the event industry na galing din ako ng hotel and other venues dito sa Tagaytay. So, yeah, definitely gamitin nyo lahat ng resources nyo ngayon. Grab it. Yun lang yun. Yung any other additional information, Sir MJ, na gusto mong mai-add para sa mga newly hired? Kasi nagtatanong sila, mga wala silang experience eh.
Yes, that's right, Mayan. So, yeah, thank you so much, Lee, for also inviting us. And just to, share something or to add on what the other speakers have shared with us earlier. So, I think BPO industry is one of right now we are called, or we are deemed to be the economic frontliners of the Philippines. So there are really a lot of opportunities, professional opportunities and the economic impact of COVID-19. So I think this is the right time, or this is a good time for everyone to take advantage of joining the BPO industry, or the opportunities, or to open their eyes on the opportunities that the BPO has to offer during this time of pandemic. Because like there are really a lot of BPO and companies or centers who are offering work from home setup right now. So I think even though they are afraid of going outside to look for a job, BPO industries are really offering a lot of opportunities for everyone. And what's good about joining the BPO industry, or what's I think the positive thing that we could also add into that, is the BPO industry is not just open to graduate students. The BPO industry is also open to those undergraduates. So those, even those without work experiences, or you are looking for any work experiences right now. So I think it's really high time for everyone to at least try to consider, or open their eyes, or open their you know open themselves to joining the BPO industries, or at least trying to just apply, so that they could at least gauge their skills, or their skill sets, by at least trying to apply in a center or in a BPO industry. So I think that's one good thing. And I think this goes out to everyone who are, afraid of, they are trying to question themselves, what are they going to do right after their graduations, or those graduating students who are a bit afraid or cautious about what's going to be, or what's waiting in their future right now. So I think you just have to, as I've mentioned earlier, you just have to be open to all the opportunities right in front of you. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Lee, I just wanted to add to that. I think having our diverse people, from speakers from the academe to government, even to our BPOs and financial services and accounting. I guess the message to all of our graduates is that go outside of your comfort zone. Ask around, inquire in these companies. Like for EY itself, we also employ hospitality or people with background in events. We have our services for our executive assistants. So these assist, our PPED. So these are principals, executive directors of EY across the regions, right? We also have an internal events team that help facilitate EY events globally, right? So even if people usually know EY as one of the big four accounting firms in the world, right? Together with PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, right? It's not just constrained to those services. A lot of companies nowadays, and like what me and MJ, Joanne was mentioning, a lot of industries, because of the necessity. They say necessity is the mother of all invention. So a lot of the companies are expanding the type of graduates that they're recruiting. So it's no longer like, for example, for EY, it's not just accounting and accountancy graduates that we're getting, but everyone, because again we cover a lot of services, a lot of clients. And another thing is also, don't stop learning new things, because it's one of the quotes from Confucius that's attributed to him is, the more that you know, the more that you don't know. And for example, for EY, we have our ongoing EY badges program. So this is available for anyone. So maybe you start out from an accounting perspective, but you want to learn more about robotics. You want to learn more about automation. You want to learn about blockchain, because maybe you're wanting to set up your own home business. So those programs are available. And same thing with a lot of the companies that are part of the panel today. But the question is, are you going out and asking these questions? Right?
Thank you, Sir and Dennis, and all our panel speakers for today. Unfortunately, we only have 45 minutes to discuss all of these questions. A lot of them are still coming in. I can read them from the comments section. And we're taking note of these comments, and maybe we can send them to you, and then we can ask for the reply, and then we can send them back to those who sent their comments, because it's already 3:35, and we are going to give award a certificate for taking your time off of your busy schedule and sharing your thoughts and your expertise in this panel discussion. We have learned so much about all of your industries and your comments about exploring ideas and taking the challenge and going out and exploring and giving the best. Giving your best in everything that you do. So, may we present the certificate for our panel speakers? So all of you will be receiving this certificate of appreciation coming from the University of Makati Office of the Vice President for Academic Affairs, Center for Linkages and Career and Development and Placement. Certificate is awarded to Mr. Alan Fontanilla, Ms. Joanne Gaffney Topacio, Mr. Dennis Petran, Mr. Mark Josel Felipe, Ms. May Ann Alegre Aure, Professor Ryan De Una, and Mr. Glenn R. Romano for sharing their knowledge and expertise as panel discussant on the industry highlights and career opportunities in government and the public sector and all the topics related to their industry during the Virtual Career Employment and Planning Conference 2021 with the theme Preparing Yourself to the Job Market in the New Normal, held on the 20th day of April 2021 at the University of Makati Virtual Space. Signed Director Cynthia Margareta R. Jose, Director for Center for Linkages and Career Development and Placement, and also the Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Elixir C. Ramos. So thank you again for all of our panel speakers for all your sharing of knowledge and expertise. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Stay
Bye.
safe.
So
Stay safe, everyone.
please stay because we still have um, other speakers and we have a round two of the table discussion. So we have other industry partners who will be speaking on behalf of the industry they represent. So later on that will happen. So today we will be hearing an inspirational message. Just a few announcements before we move on to the next part of the program. So there, as you can see on the screen, heads up employers and job hunters, we are ready your resume and join the virtual mega job fair in this coming May 25, 2021. Mark your calendars and ready your resumes and yourself, of course, for the interviews that you will have and join our virtual mega job fair. So it premieres on May 25, 2021, 2 o'clock to 5 p.m. via Facebook Live at UMak CLCDP. So that's for our major announcement for today. And also, again, just a reminder, evaluation form or link for the evaluation forms will be posted at the end of the event, and all your certificates will be sent to your colleges 10 to 15 working days after this event, after you've filled out the evaluation form and you count 10 to 15 working days. Okay, so I hope you're still here and you're ready to listen to our next set of speakers. So now before we go to the next part of this the talk, we have balancing productivity and health in the workplace. So that will be presented by Mr. John Paul Miranda, Customer Service Management, and Miss Maricor Yasona, Talent Acquisition Manager from Cardinal Health International Philippines. So welcome, Mr. John Paul Miranda. So he will be presenting the first part of the balancing and...
Yes. So hi.
Hello, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Balancing productivity and health in the workplace, right? Okay, so I will leave you here. Is your presentation ready?
Yeah, it should be good.
Okay.
Now. Am I right, Miss Maricor?
Okay, let's just wait for your presentation to be ready. Okay, there you go.
All right, awesome. So, hi everyone. I am JP Miranda, and as most of you know by now from the title card earlier, I am a working student for 2 years now. I've been with CHIP for almost 2 years, and my second anniversary with them will be marked this upcoming May 6th. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to share who and what Cardinal Health is all about. I also believe that giving this topic the spotlight today is not only timely, helpful, but it is something that we should all be aware of. As most of you will be venturing into the corporate world soon, it's no surprise that we are all anxious as to how we can perform well in the corporate world. And I'm sure all of you that it's no surprise that every endeavor has its own set of challenges, and it's even harder when we try to achieve two or more goals at once. So, without further ado, I'd like to share my experiences with you to hopefully help you achieve in having that good and well balanced life and work schedule. Okay, so next slide, please. Thank you. So it's no surprise that juggling work and student life was and still is much harder than I ever anticipated. Coming into this, I can still vividly remember all the days that I would go to school with literally no sleep, and I would rummage through my energy supply just to last throughout my night shift. And let me remind you that this was at the beginning of my career in Cardinal Health. So, of course, being the newbie, there would be days where I think about quitting. But I can definitely say that the impact we have on our customers' lives is definitely the biggest reason why I stayed. And another factor is the fact that our senior leadership team always makes us feel welcome, always feels lets us feel at home, and always puts us in the top priority along with our customers. So, knowing that I had those obstacles and challenges in mind, how did I overcome them? I guess up until this point, probably the question that I get asked the most is how I managed to achieve a healthy work life balance. As cliche as this might sound, I was able to balance my life effectively because I did manage my time. I managed it by adapting a productivity style that suits my lifestyle. And mind you, this was the result of observing myself for months and months. I would observe myself on what keeps me motivated, what hours am I usually productive, and then when I had those factors in, that's when I adapted my productivity style to suit my lifestyle. Also, I made sure that I understood very well that time is an essential resource that I have to utilize effectively. Otherwise, I wouldn't get anything done. And I guess another factor is the fact that CHIP, my company, has always been big on ensuring that the mental health of everyone is kept in check and that everyone has the right support system to get through the rough times. I also want to point out that I have a very understanding company that gives me the flexibility to choose my schedule. I remember during my first year in college, I had to take a midterms exam the next week, and I talked to my supervisor about wanting to see if I can apply for a leave. Me, not knowing if it will be approved or not, was actually already thinking that it won't be approved since it's last minute. But lo and behold, with the help of both my supervisor and manager, that date was approved and I was able to take the exam without any hassle. I'd like to point out as well what work life balance means for me. As mentioned here in the PowerPoint presentation, work life balance is not giving 50% to work and 50% to living your life. For me, it's not considered a balance if I have to compromise something. So instead, what I want to give a meaning to the work life balance statement is for me, it's living my life at least 100%, while still giving 110% of my commitment to our customers and job. And here in Cardinal Health, it's not just about work. It's actually so much more than that. And for me, it's growing where I'm planted. So for me, CHIP has equipped me with values and the discipline needed to carry out my task at work while still providing me opportunities to exercise my passion. In CHIP, we have shows and programs that highlight relevant topics, such as this one, and it also highlights the talents of our fellow CHIP family members. We also have regular one on ones with our supervisor to ensure that our mental and physical well being is monitored. I'd like to stress out that possibly the biggest reason why I managed to still do this for as long as I can is because they've been giving us so much support. They give us premium access to Headspace, which is a good meditation application. They make sure that our concerns are heard of and that our supervisors are aware if we have personal difficulties, even if it's outside work. You know, in CHIP, we have a culture where we understand who you are holistically and that it's not only about the work aspect that they are concerned, it's you as a whole. And let me just share, I don't want to get too emotional about this, but I just wanted to share that Chip was my first and will probably be my last company. You know, the moment that they decided to believe in me when I was only 19 years old, with no work experience, with no knowledge of the corporate world, with no valid IDs yet, besides my school ID, I guess that's the moment that I decided that this was and this is the company that I want to grow in. Another reason why I managed to balance my time effectively is, of course, the culture we have. Again, everyone in CHIP will greet you with a warm smile. Supervisors, managers, and everyone in our leadership team has always been friendly and kind to us. No one will ever make you feel that you do not belong. And, of course, in our company, you can bring your whole self to work without judgment. So, as a last part of my presentation, I'd just like to give a few words of encouragement for you. I hope every one of us gets to choose a company that cares for you and the value and values who you are as a whole, not just what you can bring to the corporate table. Again, when we look at you as a whole, it's not just about what products and what numbers you can give to the company. It's making sure that you're well taken care of, you're well compensated, and everything in between. And, you know, there may be thoughts in your mind when you want to quit, but you always have to remember why you started. When you're tired, it's okay. Acknowledge that you're tired, but you have to center yourself and remind yourself of your purpose. When you're tired, of course, you rest, but you should never quit. And if I did manage to pique your interest with talking about my company, I'd like to introduce to you one of my colleagues, Miss Maricor, so that she can introduce you more to our company.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Good afternoon to all of you that have joined us today. So, my name is Cor, and I'm one of the talent acquisition managers in Cardinal Health Philippines. So, I know JP was able to give you a glimpse of Cardinal Health, um, which is about, but allow me to go further detail about what Cardinal Health is and what we have to offer. But before I proceed, I would like to encourage everyone to use the chat box below for any questions you may have for us, and we will do our best to respond to all of them. Okay, so let's start. So who we are, who is Cardinal Health? So Cardinal Health is the shared services arm of Cardinal Health, a global integrated healthcare services products company headquartered in Dublin, Ohio. So we are number 15 on the Fortune 500, and we provide outstanding opportunities for personal and professional growth. So we have received several recognition as an ideal organization to work with, which is a testament to our commitment to be an exclusive and mission-driven workplace. So we are the world's most admired companies, 150 top places to work in healthcare, top 60 company for executive women. So what exactly does Cardinal Health do? So we have 50 years of experience in addressing most complicated challenges, approximately 48,000 employees worldwide. So simply to put that, we deliver products and solutions to improve the lives of people every day. So because our global footprint is growing steadily, we opened our office in Bonifacio Global City, Taguig in August 2016 to accommodate our growing number of employees who coordinate with customers, patients, and across the globe. So in recent weeks, in amid of the news set quarantine, I think everyone can relate on this. The word essential has become buzzword, but that is what cardinal health is: essential to care. So, but before I share more information of cardinal health, we would like to share who are the customers of cardinal health. So we have acute care. We also have retail, physicians, supplier, payer, patients, and our consumers. So our aim is to become the healthcare's most trusted partner. And to do that, we have a clear roadmap on where we are going, how we will succeed, and what we value. So at Cardinal Health, we are guided by our five core values to help us become, and more importantly, remain conducive and inclusive workplace for all of our team members. So we consider every employee as a family member. I know you've been hearing that from JP, and consistently strive to foster an environment where everyone can bring 100% of their genuine selves to work. So of course, as you can see, what we value is integrity, inclusive, innovative, and accountable, and mission-driven. So of course, in Cardinal Health, we believe in integrity, doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. We also strive to be inclusive and welcome team members regardless of their backgrounds, generations, and gender identifications. So we accept and embrace each other's differences and work together towards the common goal of providing excellent service. We are also innovative, leverage on ideation and technology to respond to changes. Accountable who we are at our core, we can be trusted to get things done. And last but not the least, Cardinal Health is mission-driven. We keep our eyes on the prize, take time to listen to what our customers and stakeholders need, and go above and beyond what is required for us. Okay, so of course, Cardinal Health works hard to keep its employees' best interests at heart so that you can have a productive and memorable stay with us. So moreover, we want to be the organization that helps you develop and realize the best version of yourselves. That is why we empower our leaders to support their teams in always, so you can reach both your personal and professional growth. So we invite curiosity, build partnerships, inspires commitment, and develop self and others. Okay, so Cardinal Health is more than a business. We are more than a partner and more than hard workers. And we'll be sharing a video for you to understand why Cardinal Health, why we are your wings. Okay.
They come from all over, the cures and the tools, the medicines and the machines, perfected, collected, and sent with all speed to the caretakers and the cared for, spanning miles, delivering hope. This is their flight, and we are their wings. They give of themselves, their minds, their hearts, their hands, their time and talent, armed with experience, humble with strength, dressing wounds and changing sheets and calming nerves and keeping watch. These are the angels, and we are their wings. They trade in tomorrows. Their gift is more time. They sacrifice years in exchange for more days, trade long nights of study for split-second grace. They bind and stitch and push and discover, leading the way out of pain. These are the pilots, and we are their wings. They engineer miracles, amplify care, manage the treatments and maintain supply. They stave off the outbreak with counsel and cure, bridge gaps between hospital, home, and health. This is their promise, and we are its wings. They trust in the system, the breakthroughs, the work. They put their heart and faith in our hands, all in the quest for better care, all in the hope for health. That is their prayer, and we are its wings.
Okay. So, I always get a little teary-eyed and emotional whenever I watch that video. At this unprecedented time, I think everyone can relate. Right? So, okay. So you now actually understand why cardinal health is essential to care and why we are wings. So, to discuss more about the opportunity, so we are constantly, of course, in search of talented individuals to become part of our dynamic team and help the organization achieving its goals and providing effective healthcare services. So we believe that the employee journey begins in recruitment process. We are fully committed to optimizing our core, our people, and investing in their personal professional journey with us. So our talent acquisition team is composed of competent and engaging recruitment professionals that strive to make the entire recruitment and onboarding process as smooth and pleasant as possible for all applicants. So you will see here the open opportunities or openings in Cardinal Health. So you can see that we have also for agent roles, support and leadership. So if you're interested and to know more about the opening, you can visit us at Jobs 180. There you go. Jobs 180, Cardinal Health, or join us at Cardinal Health. You can send us an email at joinus@cardinalhealth.com. You can also visit our careers page at www.cardinalhealthcareers.com. Okay.
Thank you so much, Miss Maricor and Sir JP Miranda, for enlightening us about Cardinal Health Philippines. And I think you guys are located in Bonifacio Global City.
Yes.
I heard that correctly earlier. So again, guys, those who are watching us right now, if you have questions for Ms. Core and Sir JP, you can just type in the comment section, and then I will read it for you, and they will be answering it live via Facebook. We have comments, questions. Because if we don't, we can proceed with the awarding of the certificates. Okay. If you have questions and we've already proceeded with the awarding of certificates, you are free to contact them at what was that email address that Ma'am Core mentioned? You can
You can email
communicate
us
with
at
them.
join us at
Join us
cardinalhealth.com.
at cardinalhealth.com. Okay. So, to award the Certificate of Appreciation, again, University of Makati, Office of the Vice President for Academic Affairs, Center for Linkages, Career Development Placement awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Ms. Mari Coria Sona and Mr. JP Miranda for sharing their knowledge and expertise as resource speakers for the talk on balancing productivity and health in the workplace during the virtual career employment and planning conference 2021 with the theme preparing yourself for the job market in the new normal, held on 20th day of April 2021 at the University of Makati virtual space, signed by the director of Center for Linkages and Career Development and Placement, Ma'am Cynthia, Professor Cynthia Margareta Jose, and Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Elixir C. Ramos. So again, ma'am, thank you for your answer. Thank you for your expertise. Okay, there we have a question posted. Hi, Sir JP. You mentioned that you are a working student. How does CHIP support you? I think you already answered that earlier, but yeah, just for the viewers, will you care to answer that, please?
Sure. I'd be more than happy to answer that question for all of you guys. So, yes, as I mentioned earlier, I am a working student. CHIP supports me not only by, of course, providing me the opportunity to work during the pandemic, they also support me in terms of my mental health and my physical well being. Again, we have regular touch bases and one on ones with our supervisors. They make sure that all of our concerns are heard. They make sure that surveys are regularly implemented and given to us in order to provide feedback on how the company operates and what we can do better as a whole and as a company. And I think for me, that's the most important support I get. Leaders that know how to listen and know how to respond to the things that they hear.
Thank you, Sir JP. How about this next question by Jay Lumban? Is it required to have a 1 year experience?
Yeah, I'll get that question. So currently we need at least 1 year of experience, but we're checking now if we already have an opening. So watch out for that. We'll be posting that in our careers page and also in Jobs on 80.
Okay, thank you. So again, thank you for your sharing your expertise and your knowledge about the company and how balancing your health and workspace in the new normal. Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
move on with the next roundtable
Sure.
discussion. So thank you so much for
Thank you so
taking the
much
Thank
for the
you.
opportunity. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
time. Okay. All right, so there you go. We have the next round for the panel discussion. Are you ready? So these we have 5 panel speakers that will be joining us for the round 2 of the table discussion. So we have from the IT and computer science industry, um, Miss Katrina. Oh, 4 panels are available right now. Okay. So we have Miss Katrina Ramos from Tata Consultancy Services, PH Talent Sourcing, Talent Sourcing Lead, and Miss Mariel Quinones, Direct Business Technologies Human Resource Administrator. From the construction and engineering industry, Mr. Jose Manuel Boying Biloy III from Greenfield HR Head. And then we have Science and Technology, Mr. Paulo Bayangos, Optum Campus, Global Campus Relations Officer. And then we have Mr. Philip Manuel Son Arandia, Bloomsfield Wellness Center Clinical Supervisor. And from the Medical and Allied Health, we have Mr. Romel G. Alegre Jr. There you go. Our speakers for today. And before we go to the round 2 of the table discussion, we have our Vice President for Academic Affairs to give us an inspirational message about our event today. So, Sir X, welcome to
Thank
our event.
you. Magandang hapon po sa lahat ng ating mga panelists and of course our beloved students and the professors and organizers of this CEPCON. We're very happy here in the University of Makati that despite the pandemic, we were able to organize this event. Alam po natin that the pandemic really changed a lot of things on how we actually live our lives today. No? Who would have thought that our classes right now will all be done virtually online? Dati, yung use of a learning management system is just to complement what we do inside the classroom, but now it is a must. And even how we do business, how we relate to customers, how we do our services, everything has changed. And this has really changed a lot of lives, and especially in the economic spectrum. Ang dami po nating mga kasamahan na mga nawalan ng mga trabaho, naghihirap. Kaya nga po ngayon nakakatuwa yung mga pag-usbong ng mga community pantry. In one end, it shows the Filipino spirit ng pagtutulungan, but on the other hand, it also shows like a sense of desperation na parang wala na tayong maasahan, kaya ano na, kanya-kanyang diskarte na kung paano tayo mabubuhay at paano makakatulong sa iba. But despite that, ang sabi ko nga po kanina, meron pa rin tayong ganitong pagtitipon wherein we have potential employers that are welcoming our future graduates and our students here in the university. And for that, we would like to thank everyone who is here. As you know, and I'm speaking to our panelists, the university is, of course, a public university. We are not a for-profit university, so hindi po namin tinitignan kung kikita ba kami o hindi. Ang tinitignan po ng UMak parate ay yung employability ng aming mga estudyante. And we believe that to ensure the employability of our graduates, we need the private practitioners, we need businesses to be part of the stakeholders on how we develop and how we deliver education here in the University of Makati. Because you are in a best position to tell us what you are looking for and what kind of graduates you would want from the University of Makati. And for that, no, we're very thankful that you have given us this time and opportunity to actually talk to our graduates, tell them what employers are actually looking for, and at the same time, also offer employment opportunities for our graduates. And I'm speaking now to our students. No, I hope that you take this opportunity to learn tips and lessons on how you can better your career, on how you can actually be employed, and how you can stay employed, especially at this time. Uh, and there are certain skills that is a must, no? Communication skills for one, uh, the right attitude and values towards work is one, and of course, a very pressing need right now, the expertise on how to be able to use and manipulate technology. And my message is very simple. Kahit saang industry ka pumasok, yung tatlong yan kailangan. Okay? You must be good in communication, you must have the right attitude and values towards work, and you must also be adapt to be able to use technology. And we hope that we have done our part in the university to train our graduates well. And hopefully, our partners, our stakeholders, our panelists, see this in our graduates. But again, sabi ko nga po, with the current situation that we have right now in our country, we're very thankful that you're giving us this opportunity, and make the most of this conference for both our panelists, our stakeholders, and our students. We hope for the best for everyone, and we also pray that everyone will continue to be safe, and to be that we will be able to rebound from this current crisis that we have. So, in behalf of the City Government of Makati, the University of Makati, we would like to thank the organizers, our panelists, and our students for taking time to attend this CEPCON at the University of Makati. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Stay safe. Magandang hapon po at maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you again, our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Elixir C. Ramos, for taking time to give us an inspirational message during this wonderful event. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And again, so earlier we had the first round of the panel discussion. So we have the round two table discussion of industry highlights and career opportunities. Again, I would like to introduce our speakers for today. Ms. Katrina Ramos from Tata Consultancy Services, Talent Sourcing Lead. Ms. Marielle Quinones, Direct Business Administrator. Mr. J.M. Deloy Greenfield, Marketers 1, HR Head, Mr. Paulo Bayangos, Optum Global Campus Relations Officer, and Miss Anne Maribel Hapin, Cavite Center for Mental Health Psychologist, Mr. Philip Manuelson Arandia, Bloomsfield Wellness Center Clinical Supervisor, and Mr. Romel Alegre Jr. from Makati Medical Center Nurse Educator. So welcome our panel speakers. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Good
Okay,
afternoon,
so
everyone.
good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon po.
Okay, sir. So we received questions during the pre-registration of this event. So I will be asking these questions for you to answer. So we have students from College of Computer Science. So this is directed to our panel speakers from IT and Computer Science. So Miss Katrina Ramos and Miss Mariel Quinones can answer this. First question is, what is the best entry-level job in the IT field?
Sure, let me take that on. Good
Okay.
afternoon. Again, thanks for having us. So to answer the question, what is the best entry level job in IT field? I wouldn't in perspective, right? There's a lot of roles that you can take on in the IT space. Let alone service desk roles, right? There's also IT development. So it really depends in terms of what their passion is all about. If they're into that design, there are also a lot of opportunities around that. But I must say, if we're talking about, again, depending on your interest, if you're more interested into creatives, right, web design is one. But if you're also interested in terms of directing your potential customers in terms of giving out instructions or what have you, it's best to actually start as a service desk representative. In a nutshell, again, it depends on what their passion is all about.
Okay, thank you. How about Miss Marielle? Would you like to add to that?
Yeah, so basically it was mentioned already by Miss Kat, no, but siguro just to relate it to our current positions right now here in Direct, no, so we accept naman entry level students, entry level applicants, no, for our technical consultant position. So basically these are basic installation, software configuration, yung main roles and responsibilities, and most of these naman are taught na in their previous subjects, no, I'm assuming. So they're familiar na rin naman with the systems if ever.
Okay, thank you, Miss Marielle and Miss Kat. So we'll have another question. This time is from the students from the College of Construction Sciences and Engineering. How can we easily survive OJT in this time of pandemic? So this is for Sir Jose Manuel Boying Deloy III from Greenfield HR.
About regarding OJTs, sorry, the line was a little bit. Lee, you were saying about OJTs.
Yes, how can we easily survive OJT in this time of pandemic? That's the question, sir.
Well, the situation right now is you know gives us so dynamic and kind of hard. I'll be honest, we're not any don't have any OJTs. I don't know with other companies how they kind of doing it. We're working on on a program. We offer the OJT program similar to what we're currently doing, which is work from home setup. And I think we Greenfield has been a very is an advocate of OJT. We take pride in our OJT program. We've had a lot of success in our OJTs in the past. So it's something that we are really looking into right now how we can utilize optimize that given the situation right now. We have some we do have plans right now. Hopefully we roll it out.
the time uh, graduates would really come in. We've invited a few already, but unfortunately, there were several candidates who turned down our offers in the situation. But definitely, we are looking into factoring in a work from home program for our OJT. Given our situation, we are in sales. Um, it kind of favors a work from home setup for our OJT. So that's something that is in the pipeline for us right now. But as we confirm, if it's something that we can actually roll out right now, I mean, it's a big challenge for us right now for our OJT. It's something very valuable for us, very valuable, like I said, of our business, and that's why we are really looking forward of doing a GP program. Definitely, it's happening. Not next month, it will happen.
Thank you, sir. So, will it be in Jobs 180, or will you be contacting University of Makati if there will be opportunities in the
Well,
OJT programs?
definitely, we would get in touch with
Both.
university and
Okay.
specifically because we had a lot of like past. I think in the last 3 years, 4 years, we've had a lot of successes from OJTs coming from UMak. So based on that historic, we would definitely lean towards getting candidates from UMak.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, Dealer the third. And now we have another question. This time is from the students of College of Science. Possible work fields that can apply, even that we can apply, even though we didn't take the board exam yet. So they're looking for opportunities, work fields that they can apply to even though they have not taken the board exam yet. So these question can be answered by Mr. Paulo Bayangos, since you are under the science and technology field. Mr. Philip Manuelson Arandia. So these are possible question that you are possible to answer. Sir.
All right. I think I'll go first. So, yeah, based on the question, if they're under board, what type of jobs can they join within science and technology? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. Okay. So, in Optum, we're not necessarily looking for medical allied course graduates. So, usually, this medical allied course graduates would require, like for example, a board exam for them to take in order for them to get the license, and then to get a job within the specific career path that they've taken. I get that, but again, here in Optum, since we are a CPO, clinical process outsourcing, so most of what we do doesn't actually require those kind of certifications, those licenses. But I can assure you that you can still practice your career path within, it's either within the medical field or other fields within Optum. Okay, so one example of this for medical allied graduates would be for Medical Coding Academy. We have this program wherein we're taking in any graduate of a medical allied course. It doesn't matter if you're under board, as long as you're a graduate of a medical allied course, and if you really want to venture within medical coding, you can try applying to Medical Coding Academy. Within Medical Coding Academy, we are the ones who's going to provide you with the training in order for you to be certified as a medical coder, and then get hired, get a position within Optum as a medical coder. That's just one of the examples that we have for underboard or medical allied courses. We do not actually require the certifications.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Actually, the students from the College of Science are graduates of BS Psychology. So most of them
Yeah.
are taking BS Psychology. So they can definitely apply in Optum. Okay. Thank you, sir. How about Sir Arandi? Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, right now we welcomed some of your graduating students for our internship program. And since we understood that CHED requires the OJT to be online, so we are doing online services right now. As for the job, you're waiting for if you're waiting for your license, I think it's possible because the supervisors in our institution actually has license naman, so they can supervise your work. It's just that parang we are requiring at least in our institution that those who would be in our team would basically take MA later on as well alongside their work because and then parang we want to also mentor this uh, newly hired uh, newly had employees to become psychologists later on. So our institution kasi really focuses more on training, clinical work like assessment, psychotherapy, and even research. So these are the things that Bloomfields are doing. So we want our employees to be trained. Okay, of course we will be training and supervising them, but at the same time we want them to be academically trained as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sir Arandia, for that clarification that you have open positions and you're already taking our OJTs work from home to do work from home for your company. So we have a question now this time from the College of Allied and Health Studies students. So medical and allied health industry representative is Mr. Romel G. Alegre Jr. How do we stay driven when reviewing for board exams?
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. And on behalf of Makati Medical Center, I would first like to give thank you to University of Makati for giving us this opportunity to reach out to many students, many graduates, and everyone watching this live conference or live seminar. For the question, how to stay driven when reviewing for the board exam, you always have to remember what is your goal and what is your purpose. Remember your core. What is your core? As a nurse, as a pharmacist, as a rad tech, as a healthcare professional, our core is always to touch our patients' lives. And if you pass the board exam, you can easily do it. If you're in touch with your patients, if you're taking care of your patients, you have the extra confidence, you have the extra boost to perform and to give out your skills na natutunan or you have acquired all throughout your years of studies and as you go along with your review in the board exam. That's number one. Always remember your core. Number two is always remember your purpose. After the core, you have your purpose. Why are you doing this? Doing this for your family, you're doing this for yourself, you're doing this for your patients as well, you're doing this to build a better world for your future generations and so on and so forth. Whatever your purpose, whatever your core is, always stick to those. Because if you don't stick to those, then you can go astray. If you will stick to those, then you will never fail in whatever goal that you have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So stay driven by finding out your core in your chosen field, in your chosen career. Thank you, sir. And now, this time, we have another question from the students of construction sciences and engineering. So, Sir Jose Manuel Boying Diloy, the third. How can you help students who struggle in visualization that's needed in the civil? I'm not sure if I
Hmm. How we can help in terms of visual?
visualization that's needed in the civil.
Oh, okay. Well, definitely the one way for them to actually experience that is go to an OJT program. Honestly, But are we talking about grad? I mean, of course, if we're talking about uh, grad kids, but that but if they're still undergrad, the only way for them, I mean, our experience, especially in our business, which is real estate, they get to appreciate business if they're actually there. That's why like I mentioned earlier, we're kind of expediting our program, our OJT program, because uh, we are in a business wherein we actually need OJTs that we can afford because more or less, they're familiar already and they've been with us a month, 2 months or so. So hopefully, the just going back to the question, best way for them to get, the course that they experience, because the OJT program in Greenfield is not like it, it- they will be treated just like pretty much just like everyone else. They go through the process. They go through the same. They come in terms of the same amount of work that is needed that pretty much everyone does, and the demand is basically that they expect maybe for them gradually, but uh, like I said, I mean, we take part of that, and that success that program has been quite us. Want to do that, so um, them they really have to go through actual
Actual experience.
yeah, but we'll get there. If there's specific engineers, we will be more than willing to take them in. Hopefully, like I said, by May or June, once they're ready, they can easily get up with us, and then we'll make something happen then. We'll be in the
Okay,
field.
thank you, sir. So actual experience will help you uh, get more information on how to deal with your industry, especially if you are already taking your on-the-job training at Greenfield. So this time, another question from the College of Computer Science students. Ano-ano ang mga mas magandang gamit sa pagnagawa ng mga code sa laptop or computer? So this goes for Miss Katrina Ramos or Miss Mariel Quinones of IT and Computer Science industry. Ayan po yung question. Ano-ano ang mga mas magandang gamit sa pagnagagawa ng mga codes sa laptop or computer? I think you're on mute, Miss Kat. Um, there's a problem with the audio. We can't hear you po.
Okay.
Hello, Miss Kat?
Hi.
Oh, there.
Am I on now? Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Alrighty. That is a very technical question, I must say. It definitely came from an IT student. I'm unable to provide a specific brand, right, of computers. So long as, of course, you actually have a durable, regardless if it's a laptop or computer, but the specs are up to par. That should already work. Of course, if you're into gaming, typically most gamers would even spend up to like 100,000, which is not necessarily advisable, right? If you're coding, again, it depends on your interest, and um, if you are into computer coding, I'd rather you consult somebody who has already been doing the role for quite some time, right? There are actually forum as well. I'm into at least 20 Facebook groups that are into web coding development. You can actually get best practices from there. To answer that question, it depends on what you're actually inclined to, regardless if it's a laptop or a computer. So long as the specs are up to par, that will definitely work already. Just also plug, right? Here in Tata Consultancy, we actually have a lot of programs. Just to give a little bit of background about the company, we've been in the industry for roughly 30 years now. We are across all of the GEOs. Here in the Philippines, we have at least 5,000 employees. We actually have locations at both Pampanga as well as here in BGC. And majority of the folks that we're taking in are actually on a work at home setup. So we have a work at home setup where we also enable the delivery of devices. So just in case any one of you guys, any one of our students would also want to join PCS or Tata Consultancy in the future, it's something that we can definitely provide you with soon as you get on board. Thank you,
Thank you,
Nicole.
ma'am. Miss Marielle, would you like to add to that?
Yes, Miss Lino. It's actually similar with Miss Kat. No, it's actually a very technical question, and I'm not entirely familiar lang talaga with these types of brands specific to coding for laptops or computers. But just as long as I think the system that they're using for coding it works well naman with their laptop or computer, I think that's good naman.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So we'll move on to the next question. This time is from our students from the College of Allied Health, um, and they're asking how will we be assisted if there would be a time that we have acquired COVID-19 in the hospital that we are working with. So if they're already working in a hospital and then they acquired the virus, how will they be assisted daw po? Sir Romel.
Yeah, Miss Lee. I believe the question is directed to me, no? Since
Yes
I'm the
po.
representative for medical and allied health. Actually, it depends on the hospital wherein you work in. In our hospital at Makati Medical Center, we do have employee benefits that covers ailments and sicknesses and illnesses. And that includes COVID-19 for the employees. So, to be honest, I have been diagnosed with COVID-19 in July of 2020. I was supported here. I was quarantined in the hospital. I was given leave, paid leave for that matter, back in July 2020. My swab test was free as part of my benefits. Everything in the hospital quarantine was free because of me being an employee here. It will depend on the hospital again kung ano yung mga benefit na binibigay sa inyo. And kung ano yung mga extra benefit na inihain ng management during the time of the pandemic. So it really depends on that. When you are applying to the hospital, always remember to check the salary, of course, and the benefits na ibibigay nila sa inyo. If you're good with that, then join the company. If you're not, then go ahead and look for another company that has the benefit na gusto ninyo.
Thank you, sir. So I guess the students from the College of Allied Health Studies will feel comfortable now that they know that there are benefits offered to hospital or medical practitioners like you, sir. Thank you. So we'll move on to another question. This time is from the students of College of Science. So how can we attain the HR position if you are a fresh graduate? Any suggestions, or do we need to prepare for this in time of pandemic? Okay, so I think this can be answered by Mr. Paulo Bayangos or Mr. Philip Arandia, since they're representatives from science and technology.
Mhm. Well, definitely, you have to be familiar with you just remember your IO terms, no? Okay. Yeah, I am sure that you've taken your industrial organizational subject. So just remember those things because basically that's what you're going to use for your HR work. If you can work on your license later on as an RPM, do so because that's a plus. What else? Yeah, so I think and you remember you're gonna use in HR yung mga ginamit niyo sa statistics, assessment, all those things, no, coming in together, integrating your knowledge. Okay? And kahit naman kung minsan hindi ka pa nakaka-take ng licensure exam, meron namang mga companies who would hire HR assistants. And I think you can work from there as your ladder, no? Tapos later on, as you spend more time in this company, and you enjoy naman this, the your workplace in the company, malay mo, few years pa na maging HR manager. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sir Arandia, for that answer for your for that question. And do you have any additional comment for that, Mr. Bayangos?
Actually, yes. Me being within talent acquisition for 5 years now, and up until on the current pandemic situation that we have, It's actually part of my job to look for people for the openings that we have. And I can assure you guys, even though that you're a fresh graduate and it's a pandemic situation that we have right now, most of the companies are still expanding, we're still growing, and thus the need that we do have the need to expand our teams as well. So yes, even though you're a fresh graduate in this kind of situation that we have, we're still looking for this type of profiles. So if you are or you really wanted to practice HR, if you really wanted to become an HR practitioner, of course it will still be available within the market.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And this time, we go back to Sir Tiloy. We have a question. How do we be able to practice our chosen profession in these trying times? So if they graduate and they have civil engineering, then how can they practice their profession daw po?
You know what? Well, I'm in a business. I mean, with all due respect, with other professions, I always look at it as sales would be a good idea for staff. To be honest, with with the situation that we're all in. I mean, it's something that you can actually use regardless whether you want to pursue your career, yeah, your wherever you graduated from in the run. But right now, right now, I think uh, you need to kind of work on skills. If you want to pursue whether you're leaning towards going a different direction instead of really pursuing your career. I mean, just work on specific skills, communication skills, um, for one, and and right now, like you take whatever's available, because I'm not sure about with other companies because there are a lot who've undergone some, have done pre-hiring. Uh, I've known people or I've known some companies who've done some retrenchment as well. So it's really some challenging times. So in as much as you would really want to pursue your course, um, right now you you try to kind of dig deeper and look into what would be the best alternative for you that would somehow kind of set you up eventually in the long run if you really want to pursue whatever it is that you want to look into. If you really want to push forward in the course that you actually graduated from. But I think that I think the this industries that that are currently involved right now in this panel, I think they'd be more than willing to help out anyone there who's looking for a job, especially at this time and age. Uh, they would definitely consider and reconsider whatever course the student that you're graduated from. I mean, I think companies right now, the mindset of each companies right now is to really help out in the best way they can, in the best way they can. Of course, given factors to consider, but um, just you just take what's available for you. Take what's available for you, and if that is something that you can affordable, and you think that, like I said, it's something that you can somehow mirror eventually your career that you want to pursue eventually, you go for it. You go for it right now. That would be the best advice I can pretty much give fresh graduates.
Thank you, sir. Actually, that's interesting because the first roundtable discussion, all the things that you mentioned, they already said, like that they gave advice for those who are in the tourism industry to venture other things that can help them land a job at this time of pandemic, and then later on they can pursue their own careers in their chosen
It's tough.
industry.
It's really
Just
tough.
like
I
what
mean,
you said. Yes.
yeah, the situation's quite tough. I think it catches everyone a little bit off guard. So you just have to you just have to take what's available for you.
Yes, and as you mentioned earlier, there are a lot of other opportunities who are willing to accept them, right? So
I'm
thank
I'm,
you
I'm
for
pretty
that, sir.
sure, pretty sure.
Thank you. Now, another question here is from the students of College of Computer Science. Paano kami makakakuha ng trabaho sa panahon ngayon kung ang tanging experience lang namin ay virtual internship? So, Ms. Kat and Ms. Marielle.
Sure, let me take that on.
Okay.
I'm glad that you're able to bring up that question, right? At this point in time, though yes, we're in the midst of a pandemic, right? But just imagine if this happened 20 years ago and there was no internet, right? What could be worse, correct? So, at this point in time, they don't really have to fear of their employability because, well, particularly for data consultancy, right? We're on the lookout for fresh graduates. As a matter of fact, we even put the premium or percentage of how much fresh graduates we need to onboard. So even when they only had um, virtual internship, that still counts for an internship. It may be we
Definitely.
are in the midst of the digital age, right? And we're actually lucky if you look at the brighter side of things, right? We're lucky that we're actually just at the comfort of our home and we're exposed to all these social media, all these virtual learnings that we can take on. So, just a solid piece of advice, right? Take that opportunity and time to learn a lot. So at least, by the time that you get selected for unemployment, regardless if it's, part of IT or part of the health industry, or you become a recruiter like ourselves here, most of the folks I think part of the panelists are part of the HR talent acquisition, right? It's something. Those are skills, those are learnings that you can still take on and hone in as you get employed for your new role. So you guys don't need to worry if you've only completed virtual internship because that is still an internship. Just make the most out of that, right? And take all your learnings to heart. That's all I can say in the part.
Thank you. Ms. Marielle?
Yes, and I'd also like to add na I think being able to acquire skills or knowledge just via virtual internship is a good thing as well, no? And it shows na they're actually flexible, no? Especially with our parang generation or the batch of the students these days, no? They're actually really parang techie and virtually or technologically inclined na rin. So it just shows na they're more parang flexible to adapt to whatever situation they're in, no, and it shows their trainability as well, no. So that's what we're looking rin for kasi for entry level applicants, no. Of course we're open to accepting entry level applicants, no, as long as they're ano naman very trainable talaga and with good academic standing. So yes, it's still an internship, no, and even more better since it's virtual lang and they were still able to adapt and cope, right? So yan.
Ayan.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Now, yung ating mga College of Computer Science students, welcome daw and open for opportunities on-the-job training and career opportunities ang ating mga resource speakers. So later on, we'll have them promote their companies so that you will know more about them. So we have another question from the comment section from Gab Guevara. Because of the setbacks of the new normal of learning or online learning, as newly hired nurses, will our training in the first few months be extended? So this, I think, will go to Sir Romel, Mr. Romel Alegre Jr.
Hi. So, Gab, thank you for the question. No, in Makati or at Makati Medical Center, we do have a 6-month program which we call the Nurse Residency Probationary Program. It has been in place before the pandemic. It's actually running on its 5 or 6 years already. And what we do here is to provide refresher. We provide new concepts. We provide new standards. modules, skills workshop, skills validation, demonstration, return demonstrations, drills, mock codes, and everything prior to you being deployed to your respective units. So all your learning from the bachelor's degree or the bachelor days, RLE days, and even in the reviews prior to the board exam, you'll still go over some of it. Most of the important things that you need to remember prior to you going to your units. So that is before you are deployed. We give that on the first day of hiring up to the days before your deployment. Afterwards, you are going to be paired with senior nurses. Your senior nurses or your preceptors will provide you with one-on-one preceptorship and body system wherein you are going to be guided on how to do things the way Makati Med nurses do. With that, hindi kayo papabayaan. You'll have or you will be assessed and evaluated based on your skills, based on your performance, day by day, week by week, month by month, until such time that you'll gain your independence. And even after your independence, we will always provide you continuing educations, continuing trainings up to your 6 months and up until you and the company part ways. So all in all, the moment that you step in our institution up until before you step out of the institution, provided yung trainings natin inside the hospital. In the pandemic, what we did was to transfer most of our modules, most of our classroom sessions virtually kasi nga since we cannot have any large gatherings inside the hospital, lalo na kami inside the hospital, ginawa namin siyang virtual. But all those skills validation, return demonstrations, those things na kailangan ng classroom or kailangan ng physical training, we do that in the classroom with social distancing and minimum health protocols established and observed as well. So yun yung ginagawa namin during this time and up until now. Now, for example, let me just go through it na rin. If you have not yet received your license, kakagraduate pa lang, wala pa yung board exam, since last year wala pa rin naman board exam, you are a BSN graduate, wala pang license, you can actually be hired in the hospital as nursing assistants. We do offer that position. You'll be paired with RNs who have their licenses already. You'll have experience being a nursing assistant, doing nursing procedures, doing nursing care. Just that magkaiba yung ginagawa din ni RNs plus yung mga nursing assistants. Still, you're practicing nursing but on a different degree or a different level than that of an RN. But then, even if you are not an RN and if you are practicing as a nursing assistant, you are already taking care of our patients and taking care of your patients. You are developing your skills, enhancing your skills para pagdating mo na ng board exam, mabilis na lang and then we can easily promote you as registered nurse in the future, as staff nurse in the future.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Romel. And now we have another question. This time is from the College of Science. What are the qualifications do we need for HR? So actually, this can be answered for all of our panel speakers, since I think most recruiters will look for the qualifications that for specific fields. So maybe we can start with the representatives or the panel speakers from Science and Technology, Mr. Bayangos or Mr. Arandia.
Mhm.
Again, what are the qualifications do we need for HR or for hiring? I think that's what this question means. What are the qualifications do I need for HR?
It's a plus that you're a people person, no? Because you'll be dealing with a lot of applicants. That's the first one. Secondly, mas maganda if you have a strong background on in tech assessment and kasi you'll be dealing with tests, type tests, okay, HR tests, no, IO tests. So you'll be dealing with all those things. And what else? Communication skills, because you will be also dealing a lot with or communicating a lot with the employees, especially when you get hired. I think that's the top three for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Arandia. Sir Bayangos?
Okay, so yeah, just to echo what Sir Philip just mentioned a while ago, I think one of the things that we're looking for would be or qualifications rather. It's kind of internal actually, but must have a pleasing personality, and of course, your patience must be to the topmost level. Because I'm not sure if within other industries, but just like within a fast-paced industry, such as where I'm in right now, you would really need that patience in order for you to survive within HR. Okay. Yeah, I think that's one of the qualifications that we're looking for.
Patience. Okay. All right, thank you, Sir Bayangos. Now we have another question from the comment section from Shalimar Pakalna. How will the companies assure newly graduates for this year that the opportunity out there will be for everyone, especially during these trying times? This is the time that we really need to provide opportunities and adequate trainings since their families are struggling because of the reason that is. So
I think
assurance.
if I answer, I will say good.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Okay. Um, when we talk about career kasi, it's not just a job, no? Everything that happened in your life is part of your career path, your training, the things that the experience in life. Okay, this is actually part of your career. So even if, for example, you graduated in a certain course and the opportunity for that course is not yet available, then you can take whatever it is that is available for you now. As long as you have the goal to actually practice what you have learned in your course, okay? So it can be a springboard for your career. It doesn't mean, for example, that when you're stuck with this job that you don't want much, parang hindi mo pa masyadong gusto, if you will be stuck in that career forever. It can be a springboard for you to get this job this ideal job that you want later on. Okay? So in other words, there are a lot of industries there, okay, that is offering jobs. Halimbawa, masyado nating minamaliit yung BPO industry. Na parang, oh, graduate ka ng ganito, bakit nasa BPO ka? No, you can actually use that as a springboard. Okay? As I said earlier, everything that happens in your life is part of your career path. Career is like, the umbrella term of everything in your life. Your family experiences, no, your trainings that you attended. Itong conference that we're having, this is part of your career path. Okay? So, yeah, I believe that many companies are offering many opportunities for each one of us.
Thank you, sir. Are there other panel speakers who would like to answer that question?
Sure, Makar. Hi here. So let me second what was said. I, for one, I've been in the BPO industry for roughly 15 years now. When I started, so it was practically 3 days after my graduation. I also graduated with psychology degree. And, I felt at that time, was it the right choice for me to be part of the BPO industry? It was at that time when it was still quote unquote taboo, right? Especially among the parents of our generation. But I think right now in this juncture, right, we're at the place where a lot of people are already more familiar with the BPO industry. It's not just people working at night, right? There's a gazillion of opportunities that we can be given. When we actually start as take for instance myself, I started as a call center agent. After a year of being a call center agent, I was given an opportunity to be part of recruitment. And then, from there, just to use the word springboard, it actually became my springboard and as a launch pad, right, to be part of training team, to be part of operations team. I was also part of leadership development as well as HR business partnership. So, you have to, as early as, the time that you have graduated, um, open your eyes to a lot of opportunities that may not necessarily be very relevant to the course that you've graduated in. But if you keep an open mind to learning, if you also try to find out what you're passionate about, right? You have to be able to open yourself to a lot of opportunities because these opportunities are just lingering around, regardless of the regardless of the industry. Rather, we are very accepting of people without actual experience. So again, even for fresh graduates, right? But in this juncture, you have to be able to use this time really to know more. There are a lot of institutions, online training academies, right, that offer certifications. You can actually make use rather, and take advantage of all of those um, virtual opportunities that are available. So at least you can also add them into your portfolio as you apply and get selected for jobs.
Okay, so uh, we have a lot of questions still in the comment section, but it's our 45 minutes allotted for the roundtable 2 discussion is already up. So I guess what we will do is we'll just take note of all these questions and send this to you guys, especially for the industry partners who are readily available at this moment. Thank you guys for sirs and ma'ams for attending our virtual career employment and conference today and enlightening our students of the questions that they have in mind regarding the industry they're part in. So again, thank you. Now we would like to present the certificate of appreciation from University of Makati, Office of the Vice President for Academic Affairs, Center for Linkages, Career Development and Placement. Certificate of appreciation is awarded to Miss Katrina Ramos, Miss Mariel Quinones, Mr. Jose Manuel Diloy III, Mr. Paulo Bayangos, Mr. Philip Manuelson Arandia, Miss Anne Maribel Hapin, and Mr. Rommel Alegre Jr. So, for sharing knowledge and expertise as panel discussant on industry highlights and career opportunities in medical and allied health during the virtual career employment and planning conference 2021 with the theme preparing yourself for the job market in the new normal, held on the 20th day of April 2021 at the University of Makati virtual space. Signed Director Cynthia Margareta Arjose of Center for Linkages and Career Development and Placement, and the Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Elixir C. Ramos. Again, thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge and expertise with us.
Thanks for having us. All the best.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And stay
You.
safe,
Thank you,
If
everyone.
you have
Missy.
any announcement, you may post in the chat box so we can announce it to the students too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
And now don't go yet because we will still have the evaluation link posted in the comment box after we have we receive our send-off message from our Vice President for Student Services and Community Development. So do we have our send-off message from Professor Virgilio B. Tabu, our Vice President for Student Services and Community Development. Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Lee. Magandang
Good afternoon,
hapon
sir.
sa inyo lahat. I'd like to express my gratitude to the Center for Linkages, Career Development and Placement officials, headed by, of course, the director, Prof. Cynthia Jose, for inviting me again in this exercise of preparing new students to engage in the real work. Uh, Of course, I'd like also to express my appreciation to all the esteemed resource speakers and discussants for sharing to our students your expertise. Thank you. Marami pong salamat sa inyo. I think it is a tribute to the foresight that the office of Ma'am Cynthia Jose has initiated, realizing that 3 months from now, okay, you will be graduating, no? And eventually you will find a job, di ba? And I know that the pandemic has left some of you struggling to address your concerns and anxieties about looking for a job after graduation, while some companies are also struggling to survive, di ba? And in fact, they have expressed already fear of reducing their workforce, or worse is threatened, to cease to operate, or just close the company due to huge loss, no, or bankruptcy. Alam nyo, mga mahal naming mga mag-aaral, sinasabi ko nga sa inyo, no, ang mga trabaho tulad ng ating pagkakaalam natin, sa ngayon ay patuloy na nagbabago, no? Nagbabago lalo na sa panahon ngayon na tayo ay pinagagalaw ng digital technology. Okay? At sa gayon, ang mga kakayahang alam natin ngayon ay dapat ding magbago. Okay? Hindi hindi nyo lamang kailangang maghanda para sa mga trabaho na meron ngayon. Ngunit kailangan din ninyo na maghanda upang maihatid, no, ang susunod na kalakaran ng mga trabaho na magiging popular sa malapit na hinaharap. Okay? Dahil ang mga tao sa ngayon, o yung mga binabanggit kanila, yung call center agent, ay unti-unting papalitan yan ng mga tinatawag nating artificially intelligent computers. At nangangahulugan ito ng kailangan nating paghandaan ang isang bagong hanay ng mga manggagawa na nakahanay para sa mga trabahong ito. Na kahit ngayon ay wala pa ring mga malinaw, na wala pang marinaw na matawag doon, competencies. Okay? But despite of this pandemic, I think you're the kind of citizens today who are very powerful citizens in terms of the use of digital technology. And so we need to train you, no, to be responsible with this power that you have now. And as future graduates, you have to be educated and trained not only with competencies and skills required for the job, but also a kind of work ethics or set of values, no, that are attractive to the potential employers. And just to pose this very fundamental question, okay? Why work values is so important in the workplace? This is a great question, because work values and ethics, okay, impact daily decisions. Okay? A reputation for ethical practices and work values in any industry, in any company, can be a competitive edge. Okay? A high organizational ethical practices can significantly contribute to productivity by minimizing the cost of business transactions. Okay? Establishing, of course, yung tinatawag nating customer loyalty, yung creating trust with suppliers, what else? Maintaining social capital and successful team of employees. No? And by behaving ethically, organizations can derive huge advantages. No, just to mention lang few contributing factors to work values. No, first is goal setting. Kailangan meron kayo niyan. Paghandaan nyo yan. No, it's a very powerful process for thinking about your ideal future and for motivating yourself to turn your vision into reality. Okay? The process of setting goals helps you choose where you want to go in life. And by knowing precisely what you want to achieve, you know where you have to concentrate your efforts. Okay? Second, I think you need to have that dedication to work. Okay? Dedication to work. It is a devotion or parang setting aside the scheduled time that you are required to work each day consistently without fail, no? As well as being on time and giving 100% of your efforts uh, doing quality work. Okay? And siguro kailangan din yung emphasis on quality, no? You need the emphasis on quality, no? Some employees also do only the bare minimum, no? Just enough to keep their job intact. Okay? Huwag niyong gayahin yan, no? Employees with a strong work values care about the quality of their work. Okay? They do their best to produce great work. No? The employees' commitment to quality improves the company. So remember that, ha? And of course, very important is discipline. Okay? It takes a certain level of commitment to finish your tasks every day. No? An employee with good discipline stays focused on his goals and is determined to complete his assignments. Okay? Mahalaga rin yung teamwork, no? Yung sense of teamwork. You have to work together to meet a company's objectives, no? An employee with high sense of teamwork helps a team meet its goals and deliver quality work. Okay? Okay. So ano pa? Also equally important is reliability, no? It isn't just about finishing what you've been told to do, no, in a timely manner, but more on parang the ability to manage your workload and know when to say no or when to say yes, no, for help, no, and being reliable at work isn't just about getting poggy points, no, with your manager, no. Having a strong work values involves upholding the goals of the company by performing your job to the best of your ability. It means focusing, no, on completing your assigned tasks on time. So tandaan nyo yung mga yan, ha? Basta let us always be reminded of the law of morality na sinasabi doon na anumang gagawin natin, no, anumang gagawin ninyo kapag nasa trabaho na kayo, gawin ninyo ang tama at mabuti. Hindi dahil sa pararangalan kayo kapag ito'y ginawa nyo. O gawin ninyo ang tama at mabuti, hindi dahil sa paparusahan kayo kapag hindi nyo ito ginawa. Di ba? Dapat gawin ninyo ang tama at mabuti kapag nasa trabaho na kayo dahil yan ang prinsipyo ninyo sa buhay. Di ba? Ang gumawa ng tama at mabuti, okay, nang wala nang tinitingnang reward o parusa, di ba? Palagay ko yan ang pinakamataas na level, no, ng paggawa ng tama at mabuti. Ang pakiusap ko lang sa inyo, no, kapag kayo ay may trabaho na, please find opportunity in providing feedback by informing us what we miss doing in the curriculum. It's you. No? It's you actually, our future alumni who are the best people to provide feedback and define the skills and competencies that we need to enhance in our curriculum. Why? Because, the test of education is employability. No? And so it is all, I think, about your ability to put into action not only that good citizenship values, but also the desirable work ethics, no? When you finally find yourselves in the real world, no, sa workplace o job market after graduation. Okay? So, thank you. Okay? And have a great day with our esteemed speakers and discussants. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, sir. Actually, sir, your message, your sent off message, summed up all the things that our speakers today have mentioned. Yung mga questions ng ating mga students, they were able to answer, and all the comments and the sharing of knowledge ng ating mga speakers, para pong sinamarize nyo dun sa inyong send off message, no? Para pong kayo po talaga yung final na lahat po ng sinabi ng speakers natin, ni-recall nyo po lahat para ma-remember ng ating mga students. So thank you, sir, for reminding them of all those things that you mentioned earlier. And we hope that all the students learned from this virtual career employment and planning conference. And again, we will be posting the link in the chat box for the evaluation of this event. Make sure you post it, you click on the evaluation link, and then you answer them immediately. Para hindi nyo pa nakakalimutan kung ano yung mga na-recall ninyo from this event. And if you also can comment some of your observation for this event, it would mean a lot. If you would like to suggest something for the next event that we will be conducting, you may also comment it in the chat box. Also, again, we would like to remind everyone, heads up again sa mga employers and job hunters. Ready your resume and join the virtual Mega Job Fair this coming May 25 of 2021. Meet top professionals and companies virtually. So make sure that you mark your calendars. If you are looking for a job, mark your calendars at this day of May 25 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And stay tuned for more announcements. And again, yung certificates po from this event will be processed 10 to 15 working days and will be sent to your colleges after the event. So thank you again for attending the Virtual Career Employment and Planning Conference 2021. See you again on May 25 for the Mega Job Fair. See ya!